Yo,
What
what's going on? What is happening?
up?
Year
Words,
in review
words,
2021. Can you
words, words,
believe it?
words.
It's happening.
I mean, it's here.
Yup.
Um,
December 29th? 29th. Yeah,
Today's
December
December
29th.
29th.
Wow. 2 days left of this year. We made it, I think. Unless this is all the Matrix, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm hearing that it's going to be the last one.
It,
All right.
it better be. It better be. I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't think I've seen the other ones, kinda. I don't think I finished 2. I didn't finish 2. I saw 3 in the theaters, but I don't remember it. And I have no intention of seeing 4. So
Yeah,
that's the Matrix for you.
I saw the original 3 in theaters, and they the first one was really good, as everybody should know, and everybody should have watched by now. But I didn't care much for the other 2, and so I don't have high hopes for this most recent one. But as you can see, viewers, listeners, anybody along the bottom, I guess only viewers would be able to see. Please write in the comments. Tell us what you want to see. What I guess really what you saw this year, what you loved, what games you played, what movies you watched. We already have one popping up in the comments here from Jamie O'Connor. The Suicide Squad was up there for her. Well, it was for me too, because that was just a very, very unexpectedly funny movie. At least unexpected to me. I don't know. Maybe you, Alex, thought it was more expected.
Well, yeah, it was a good movie. It was good. It was fun. I didn't know what to expect to go into. I knew it'd be something very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was. It's pretty much a DC version of it, because DC is more violent and destructive, and that is literally what happened.
Yep.
And
When
then,
James Gunn does a DC movie, that's what you get.
We'll just
I mean,
at
to be
that.
fair, he did movies before Marvel. He did superhero movies before Marvel. It's not like he's just a Marvel director.
Well, I mean, it's like whatchamacallit kind of made him famous. He was famous before, but I mean, Galaxy of the Guardians, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of like put him on the map. Like, you can't really think, what else did he do? He hasn't really, like, before Guardians of the Galaxy, he wasn't really a director.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he did like
James
3
Gunn
movies
directed.
as a director before, or 2 movies before Guardians of the Galaxy as a director. He was a writer for a long time.
Fair.
Like, he wrote Scooby Doo and Scooby Doo 2.
I actually didn't know he wrote those.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are great movies. And then he wrote Dawn of the Dead, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
By Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I guess the only other movie that I even like recognize that he did before, other than Super, would have been movie 43, but I never saw it. I just recognized the title.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so there you
go. All right, there you go.
Movie 43.
Yeah.
I don't think he did that, my friend.
Yeah, he did. I'm on IMDb, unless IMDb's lying to me.
Well, I'm on his Wikipedia and it says it doesn't have that on there. So
who are you gonna trust more? Wikipedia, which is just
what does it say that he did for it?
Written. It said he's directed it and wrote it.
Who's it by?
I don't know.
Who's the
Oh, I closed it.
Who's the production company?
Production company is okay. First of all, it's starring Emma Stone, Stephen Merchant, Richard Gere, amongst many other well-known people. Apparently, Hugh Jackman was in it. Halle Berry. Whole lot
movie
of people.
40. Oh, movie 4. I know what that is. That's a comedy, isn't it?
Oh, and this is probably where he knew. Yeah, it's a comedy. This is probably where he knew.
Yeah, because he's so it's like it was a group of people who did that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, like you got Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, there's a bunch of directors.
It's
right.
6 segments. Yes. Now I remember that movie.
Okay.
But like, yeah, that's probably why it's not listed, because it's not just him.
It's not just solely him.
Yeah. But yeah, like his directorial like debut was Slither, and I never saw that either. So
that movie sounds super familiar as well. 2006.
Well, you probably saw it because it's got Nathan Fillion in it. So
I don't think I actually saw it, but I do recognize
loser.
it.
No, he's got Nathan
Michael
Fillion,
Rooker.
Elizabeth Bank, Michael Rooker,
Yeah.
obviously, because Michael Rooker's in everything he does. Um,
That's funny.
yeah, I never saw it either, but it's something about
Rob
worms and
Zombie was in Slither. I shouldn't be surprised.
something about murdering parasites and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
either way, so yeah, so that's James Gunn for you. To be
Yep.
expected.
Yep.
To be expected. Yeah. So yeah. Movies. You know? Movies.
Yeah.
Where we go? Where we going? Where we going on this?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, there's so many. Let's just dig into it. Okay. Tell me what your favorite movie of this year was. Let's just start with that.
Oh fuck, I don't know. Um
we'll make it easy for you. You just have to
yeah.
pick one, Alex.
Well, I mean, what considers it a movie, you know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Shang-Chi's up there. It was fun.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Dragons
fun.
are always fun. Yeah.
Um Justice League was good. It was, I mean, I'm just a Batman fanatic, so I mean, you know, it's fun. But I don't know. I don't know what really stole the year. I would have to probably Shang-Chi was probably the top one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Interesting.
surprising to come out of that.
Yeah.
That
It was really good.
I wasn't surprised. I knew it would be good because Asians, you know, they do well. But yeah, I don't think there was a lot of other movies that really gripped it. I mean, like, yeah, you got Suicide Squad in there. You got what else was there?
I mean, we just saw Spider-Man: No Way
Yeah, I
Home.
don't count that as a movie
was,
as like, you know, because it's still out.
Totally 2021.
It's still out. It's, you know, like it's the end of the year. You know,
but if it's released in 2021, what awards does it get nominated for? Does it get nominated for 2022 awards? No, it gets nominated.
It would for like
awards.
It depends. Like it's one of those weird ones. Like it depends when they decide to nominate it. Like they could have. They're not. I think all this stuff have to be in by like November or something. I don't remember. I don't fucking know. There's some weird shit about it. But yeah, no, I just don't count it because it's still in theaters and it's still changing. Like, you know, like millions of people are still going to see it still. So like the numbers for records and all that stuff is going to change.
Yeah, but it's not about records.
But like if I see it again,
released in 2021,
like is it going to change it again in the theaters? Like for me, I don't know. I don't know.
You know, Alex, going into this, I thought you were going to tell me that your favorite movie of this year was The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt. I just got a hunch, but you know, like, I'm you know, pleasantly surprised that you picked something else, and I'm okay with that.
Tomorrow War, what a movie!
Oh my gosh, that is like honestly. So I was sitting down before this, and I was trying to figure out what movies came out this year. You know, and I'm just trying to really think back critically, like what movies came out, what movies did I see, and I saw quite a few movies. But when it got to like Amazon Prime Video, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look up all the Prime Video movies, like original content for Amazon Prime Video. And the only movie I could like find that I had seen was The Tomorrow War, and I was like, this was such a terrible.
Yeah, you didn't watch Chaos Walking that came out.
No, I have not seen Chaos Walking. Yeah. I heard it was not great.
No,
like it's starring people I genuinely enjoy. I like Daisy Ridley. I like Tom Holland, but yeah,
I mean, it's just a futuristic, apocalyptic, whatever the fuck they're called.
Isn't like just like another one where they're all like deaf, like C on Apple TV Plus?
No, so what happened is, so I guess in the community, so they're in a community on a planet, which like they found a new planet from Earth. So like they left Earth and went to this new planet, assuming it's Earth. I don't really remember. I can't remember. And in this colony is only men because all the women were killed or just disappeared by these monster, like the local people on the planet, which you find out later about other stuff about it, obviously. So, but all the men on the planet, thoughts are projected. So when anything you're saying in your head are projected and everyone can hear you. So you have to kind of do that, but women don't. So then Daisy Ridley's character shows up and is the first woman that they've seen in like 20 years or something.
Okay.
And it kind of goes on to that. But there's more to it, and then it's like because they're coming from a colony from another
Yeah.
planet, so like they were one
Yeah.
colony that showed up, like one group of people that showed up, and then they were waiting for another 10 years or something for another one to show up or whatever. So yeah, so that's kind of where it goes. It was interesting. I think the book apparently is supposed to be obviously much better. Obviously,
Mm.
if they was probably good if they decided to make it a movie.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true, but yeah, it's interesting. It's it's something to kill, time to
Yeah.
kill.
Man, so many movies came out this year. Actually, some of my like um top movies of this year would have included a few from Netflix. The Fear Street trilogy, I really enjoyed. I thought those were a lot of fun. I'm not going to go out there and say they were the best movies of the year, but I really like enjoyed them. I liked that the format of releasing one each week for 3 weeks.
Sure.
Getting to see 3 movies in the same series was really cool. I enjoyed that. The Mitchells versus the Machines, that animated film, that was a ton of fun. That was just a blast. Just a hilarious movie all around. Bo Burnham's Inside. Netflix actually kind of rocked it out of the park in many ways. Yeah, Bo Burnham's Inside, his like one-man production, the soundtrack that came out from it, I listened to like ad nauseum for quite a while, and I still listen to a lot of the songs off that soundtrack. So definitely up there for me. We got Jungle Cruise, which was probably like The Rock's best performance. Like if you heard how many dad jokes he dropped in it, like how can you top that performance? Like, that was just incredible.
Matt's favorite movie of 2021 was Jungle Cruise. I'm shocked you didn't say Cruella. I thought Cruella was going to be your favorite movie of all time.
Cruella was fine.
No, it wasn't. It was garbage. Like, let's not lie ourselves here.
I don't even remember what we reviewed it, but it was not up there.
No, it's and you know what? She's gonna get nominated for an Oscar because she's fucking what's her name?
Yeah. Red Notice, I actually just watched finally last night. Got around to watching it. I haven't watched a lot of action movies recently. Like I in the past couple of years. So like when I do, I really have to remind myself, like, turn your brain off, enjoy it for like the spectacle of the action.
I tell you that
film.
every movie you ever fucking watch.
But I struggle. Like I have to
like,
get into like
if you do that
characters and how things go together.
Like if you do that for Godzilla and like Mortal Kombat, you just remember these characters are never going to exist in the real world.
Godzilla gets a pass because it's a monster movie, and I can.
That's what I'm saying. But then you gave right. Anyways, go on.
Mortal Kombat, I struggle with because it was just not a good movie.
The opening fight sequence kind of, was pretty great.
Some choreography was good, yes, some, but like on the whole, like the movie was hot garbage. Red Notice I enjoyed. Like I'm not going to sit here and say like it wasn't a good movie. I'm just saying I have to remind myself going into action films like this isn't going to be like a strong character film where like everything was well foreshadowed.
Was a mess. There was no chemistry between the characters or the actors.
Well, like The Rock played The Rock.
You could tell half the time they weren't there.
Yeah,
they weren't there. Like the one scene when they're in like, spoiler, when they're in like the jail and they're talking with her, you could tell they shot that at 2 different times because they would never show the 3 of them at the same time. And I was just like, that's annoying. You can't control chemistry that way if you're not being there at the same time. I understand there's COVID protocols and they're all from different parts of the world, but like, come on now, delay the movie. Fuck it, you know what I mean? It's your most expensive movie. I get it.
There's an interesting. So there's a couple of moments where we saw movies like Zack Snyder's The Justice League when you see Jared Leto talking to Ben Affleck's Batman, but that wasn't filmed together, and they did that. Okay, there was one that I recently learned about that I had absolutely no idea happened. When I saw this movie, this wasn't a movie from this year. This was Spider-Man, the second one with Tom Holland, Far From Home. So when he goes into that hotel room and Nick Fury's sitting behind him and they're having a conversation, they were filmed completely separate locations. Like they were not filmed together doing that scene. But like watching it, I had no idea. They actually did a really good job doing that.
It's not hard to do if you're good at it. Like if you have the right director doing it and the right people doing it, but like
who directed Red Notice? I actually don't even know.
I don't really know. Probably Adam McKay because he's horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen Don't Fall
Rawson Marshall Thurber.
Yeah, see, The Rock just finds his friends and just gets them to do stuff with him, and then
this guy did like Easy A, Skyscraper, which is another Rock movie.
Yeah, so The Rock just gets his friends to do stuff.
He did Dodgeball.
Yeah, okay, but Dodgeball is not the most creative. Like, it's a creative story, but it's only funny because of certain moments of it, and we were young and stupid. If we watched it, if
It
we
was
made
really
it,
good for the
if
time.
we made the movie today, we'd fucking hate
Oh,
it.
if it was made today, yes, I agree. I don't think it would have hit off as well.
That's
But
what I
for the
mean. Like you got to
time, it
think.
was
Yeah,
very fitting.
exactly. Now, if I watch it now,
Yeah.
I think it's the dumbest movie in the world. Fuck you, Dave. Suck it. Because I know Dave will like if Dave
Wow,
was
shots
watching this.
fired.
If Dave was watching this, he would be like, "No, it's the best movie of all time. What are you saying?" You know, it's Dave. It's classic Dave. You know?
Oh man.
We all know it to be true. Let's not fight it.
Let's see what other movies came out. We got Black Widow this year finally.
It was
Yeah.
a horrible movie. It was not a horrible movie. Sorry,
It wasn't a horrible
it
movie.
introduced the best character they've released in a long time. But that's
Yes,
it.
it did. Yep. And we got to see more of her in Hawkeye, but we're not talking about TV series yet. We're talking about movies, so let's stick to movies. What else did we get this year? Okay, so yeah, Netflix obviously had a pretty strong year, and like you know what, that was told to us at the start of the year, Jan 1. We knew they were releasing a new movie every week, or was it like a new original content every week?
I think it's supposed to be a movie every week, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Most movies
so they
didn't get
released
like
a lot. Like we got Army of the Dead, and we got the sequel to Army of or the prequel.
It's kind of a prequel, yeah, basically prequel. It's
Army
not
of
the prequel's
Thieves.
not bad.
I actually haven't seen the
it's
prequel,
not bad.
but
It's just a bunch of bank heists, but you know, it is
yeah, the Army of the Dead movie was like I didn't think it was a particularly good movie. Dave Bautista is not a good actor. He should not be like the front runner of any movie. Period.
It was fun. It was, you know, like I said, like you get away from the actual story plot of it, like and the characters. Like it was a fun movie if you just pull yourself out of it and just.
And again, they did an amazing job replacing an actor across
sometimes,
the whole film.
Yeah. Sometimes it was really ugly. Like when they came out of the tunnel, you could just so tell, and I was like, "Oh wow!" But that's hard to do.
I didn't know about it until after I watched the movie.
Yeah,
and so watching the movie, I had no idea. So like, if you weren't looking for it, like I wasn't looking for it, I would not have known. Like I just
well, there's a lot of dead pixels and spots and stuff. Like you could just tell, and that's also a Netflix problem in general. But like I also knew that that happened, and I kind of wanted to see how they did it. Because she shot all her scenes by herself.
Okay.
So like she never met Dave Bautista. She never met
She
only met the one girl. Sorry, the one girl. What's her name? I can't remember her name. But when they're on the roof with just her and her, that's when they met. That was the only scene she ever did with somebody. Everything else she did by herself.
Which is they did a good job, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then, like the Army of Thieves was the prequel to it, and the guy who plays the main character and he's in Army of the Dead. He directed that one too, so it wasn't bad.
Interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
Yes, cool, a little German boy.
And other streaming movies, we got Finch from Apple TV Plus, which I enjoyed. I thought it was an okay film.
Yeah, there's a dog in it, so I'm never watching it.
There's a dog. But Alex, let me tell you. You don't have to worry about your normal worries when it comes to dogs in movies.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk.
You're not going to be heartbroken. Let me tell you that much. Not because of the dog, anyway.
If you're gonna, like, I don't get emotionally attached to robots either, so it's not a whole thing. It wouldn't bother me, but not worth it. Anyways, go on.
It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. It was well shot. Coda was also like probably one of my top films of this year. I just thought it was like performance-wise, character-wise, it was absolutely terrific. So Coda, for anybody who doesn't know or didn't see our earlier podcast where I reviewed it, it's children of deaf parents or deaf adults. I need to double check this now. But basically, the main character is a child of a whole family. So the parents and her brother, all of them are deaf. She is not. So she grows up having to basically, like, she's being like leaned upon heavily by the family from a very early age. Like when she's like 4 or 5, she's doing all the ordering at restaurants for them. She's doing like all the communication for them with everybody else in the world, because it's just easier for them to have her who can actually hear and talk to them do it, rather than them trying to like go through the whole thing that they've spent their whole lives doing, which is just figuring out ways to communicate with everyone. And so it's that whole story about like this dependency that's on her and the pressure that they put on her when she has her own dreams. So I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't have much else from Apple TV Plus. I haven't seen Greyhound, the big like war flick. I feel like there's 1 or 2 other films that came out on Apple TV Plus this year, but just haven't had the time or maybe even the interest to go and watch them at this point.
Fair. I haven't watched anything on Apple TV really, except for Ted Lasso. So, but that's TV. We haven't got there
Yeah.
yet.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Disney Plus had a few others. So we already talked about Jungle Cruise, Cruella, Black Widow, and Shang-Chi's on it. But it was I consider that a theatrical release, and it came to streaming later. We got Raya and the Last Dragon, which was a really good animation film. If you haven't seen it, it's probably one of the better ones that they've done this year. Encanto just came out. I haven't seen it yet, though. So I'm going to put that in the column that Alex put Spider-Man in 2022. I'll see it eventually, and I'll talk about it in 2022.
Please think. So, like, it's just so, like, because it doesn't. So, the thing is, Spider-Man No Way Home, everyone's going to
Yeah.
love. There's probably not going to be a negative review about it. So, there's no point of putting it in this thing when it's already going to be the top of everything, anyways. So, now you have to compare it to everything coming up after it. Because then everything else after it is what's judging it. Because everything before it has already been judged, and you know where that stands now. And you know if No Way Home is the top of the list,
Uh-huh.
now you have everything else that's going to come. Because you know 2022 is going to suck. There's nothing good coming out next year. There is, but there isn't.
There's some good stuff coming. Yeah.
The only thing that's going to matter is in like November. I'm not. March and November. March and November.
Batman.
That's what I said. March and November.
We'll get to that. We'll talk about 22 later on, but
only two movies coming out next year that matter. Anyways, go on.
Disney Plus, yeah. So not much else for me on that one. I think Ron's Gone Wrong is another animated film that came out that I want to see, but that's not even a Disney film. I think that's a Fox film, Fox Animation Studios film. So it really looks like in many ways to me like Big Hero 6, like just the Baymax character, but in another like robotic form.
Yeah,
that's what I'm pulling from.
Smaller, but like more personality or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just talk about like movies in general in theaters. Like we actually got to see a couple movies in theaters this year compared to like 2020, where I think you saw Tenet, and that was about it.
Last year, yeah, I saw Tenet.
I didn't see anything last year.
When did they shut down again? In 2022, in 2020, I think I saw Tenet.
We shut down in March, so we saw some stuff before.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
after the shutdown.
Yeah, I did come back to the summer, so I'm thinking like Tenet. There was something else that came out last year. I saw in theaters. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but I don't remember. There was something
it was supposed to come out in 2020 that finally came out in 2021 theaters. No Time to Die.
Yes. Yep.
And I feel like it's time that we can talk a little bit more about it candidly, because it's been out for a while and you can watch it on streaming. Well, you can rent it. You can pay to rent it now on streaming platforms. But that's the end of Daniel Craig's Bond. He did. I think that's the first time we've ever seen Bond die.
You just spoiled the whole movie for everyone.
Yeah, I did. I told them. I gave them the heads up.
Shame.
They had time. That's the end of Bond. Well, Daniel Craig's Bond, anyway. As far as we know,
we'll figure it out.
It seems unlikely he would have gotten out of that predicament, but I mean, it is movies. If they really wanted to retcon it, they could, I'm sure. Yeah, he might have seen a fridge lying around.
Never know.
I mean,
it is a bomb. It was like a bomb silo. So, like,
yeah,
I think he could have survived in some way. You never know.
If they really wanted to, I'm sure they could make it work. But what else do we got from this year that we saw in theaters? Wonder Woman 1984 came out this year.
Yeah, that was on digital. We only watched that digitally.
Yeah.
And
obviously, Zack Snyder's Justice League came out this year.
Yeah,
which was
digitally.
Not so much a movie as more of a lifestyle. You really got to, live your life while watching that movie.
I mean, I guess.
How long was it? Like 4 hours?
Yeah, it was like in sections, so 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a long watch. I did not watch it in one sitting.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place Part 2. We finally got to see that, which was a bit of a letdown.
It was literally just a longer version of the first one. So
you're right. Like it just felt like an extension of the first one, which I wanted it to be a sequel in that it just picked up from where the first one left off. But
No, see, I think it should have passed some time, because then you see then they like because all they did was keep going back in time from the first one, and it was just
You're
like
right. Yeah.
we didn't see a little bit of how they got to where they were in the first one, but
Yeah.
that could have been in the first movie, and we could have done in the
Yeah.
second one, see what they could have done in that, like say 5 year jump, and then you
Sure.
do what's in those 5 years,
Yep. Yep.
like a little bit, right? And then, but you're doing more movies in that universe, so we'll see if we see
Yeah.
those characters again, anyways. So
Yeah. For sure.
we shall see.
What else is on tap? We've already talked about the terrible Mortal Kombat movie that came out this year. The Suicide Squad. Yeah, I just thought it was a hilarious movie. That was a good one. I think that was the first movie I saw in theaters
Sure, I
since
came
the
out in
start
the
of the
summer.
pandemic.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
so.
that was the first one. Which was a lot of fun. It's on streaming now. You can actually see it on Crave. I think Alex, you mentioned that the other day.
Yep.
So that's one to check out if you haven't. It's just unexpected fun. Godzilla versus Kong came out this year. Free Guy finally came out. That was a long time advertised, I feel like.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Like I genuinely enjoyed that one. Again, like Ryan Reynolds just like I don't want to say he phones it in, but I think he just knows that he can just show up and be Ryan Reynolds and people will spend lots of money to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never spent money to see that movie, but
people do, is what I'm
yes,
saying.
people did, but because it did go in the theaters. But yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It was fine. It was
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a good
fine.
movie or a
I wouldn't
great
know.
movie.
I
I'm
would.
saying,
I'm glad I didn't pay to see it in theaters. That's all.
Yeah.
Almost did, but didn't.
It did pain me a lot when like the game developers were like, "There's a bug or a glitch in the game. The only way we can address this is by going in the game and challenging the glitch directly." I'm like, "You're coders. Your whole job is to just write code. You can't just look in the code and find the problem." Like, I don't know. That really hurt my brain. But again, like you say, turn off your brain, Matt. Turn off your brain.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Heights was a really fun musical that we got from Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Well, he wrote it, kind of.
Yeah,
It's based off his musical, but he's not. He
sure.
didn't have anything to do with it other than being in it for a few minutes.
Yeah,
But
just like a cameo. Yeah.
yeah, because I think it was
Yeah.
directed by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it directed by? Because I remember they did something. It was fucking guy who did fucking one of the fantastic, not fantastics. Oh, what is his name? It's John Chu. Yeah, that's who it is. Oh, fuck, I knew that. He did GI Joe, and like
Oh,
that was his
really?
biggest like Retaliation, the one with the Rock, and like Now You
Oh,
See
okay.
Me
The
Too,
sequel.
which
Yeah.
was okay. And then he does like a lot of dance stuff. He's done a lot of like music videos and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it was kind of like
It's
his
enjoyable.
big. What?
In the Heights, it was enjoyable. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. We got the John Wick, but not John Wick. We got Better Call Saul's version of John Wick. Nobody came out this year. Yeah, like it's like every other one of those like Taken, John Wick type movies where it's just like, here's the guy who's past that life and now he's being dragged back into it. Okay.
Never saw it.
Bang.
Didn't care.
I think the biggest one of this year, like the most hotly anticipated one, theaters, like the big time movie, was Dune. And
theoretically, yeah, that was the biggest one that they kind of tried to promote as much as possible.
Yeah, the big marketed movie over the last,
other than like I think
at least
other than
half of this year.
I think Shang-Chi would have kind of blew it out of the water.
Shang-Chi would have been up there, yeah.
But yeah, I think Dune was kind of the big more.
It was supposed to be the epic. You know what I mean? Like every year, you typically expect like one like epic film that's like just a masterpiece, and like that's what it was being touted as.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I don't think it quite met that for me when I saw it.
Yeah,
didn't live up to that.
It was
level of grandeur.
Dune is like been one of those movies where it should like they've always said it was unfilmable, and it's like, and I get it. Like they've done it 3 times, but like
yeah,
and all the other 2 times have kind of failed miserably. But I mean, it's this one.
I do find that like saying like this book's unfilmable, like it's used for a lot of books, and time again, like that's been proven wrong. Like you can film
Well, I mean,
books.
this one is
It
I would
just
under
takes a good screenwriter, you know.
I would agree with this one though. Like the way the book is written and the characters, like it gets very complex. Not because
Yeah,
like you
totally.
leaves a lot to, and they did it in the movie. They leave a lot out
Oh,
to like your own
absolutely.
imagination,
Yep.
and like the movie was made for the fans, obviously, of the
Sure.
book or people who have
Yep.
read the book.
Mhm.
It was very clear because there's things that just don't make sense if you didn't read the book. And they
Yep.
spoil a few things in there in the first movie that you find out later in the book, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was just weird. But we'll see. They got a sequel coming, so we'll see if they will probably want to put it into 3 parts, but I don't think the second one's going to do very well. It'll be more action packed, kinda,
Yeah.
but it'll be based on how they write it, I guess.
Yeah, and you
And
know,
how
like I do want to see the sequel. I want to see where the story goes. Like I don't I'm like it wasn't a bad movie. Like it was actually like a very well done movie. It was just a very boring movie. Like
well, that's
again,
the thing. It's like the first half of that book is it's all politics, and it's just
yeah.
like there is the
And
attack, and the attack is kind of
mhm.
supposed to be the major
And
part
it
of
was
it.
well shot. Like the attack was very cool.
Yeah.
It just yeah, it's one of those that like it like they were being very faithful to the source material. You can tell like they really wanted to like take what's on the page and get it on the screen. And I think they
Mhm.
did a good job of that, at least from the conversations I've had with you and others who have read the book.
Mhm.
I think for me, it was just like going into it, haven't had the read the book, saw the trailers, kind of like was expecting one thing, and you get into it and you get to the end of this Dune movie, not Dune Part 1, not Dune first half of the book, nothing like that. You watch the movie Dune
No, it
and it
says
just
Dune Part
ends the
1 at
way
the
it
beginning.
ends.
The
Not
opening
on
credit,
any of the movie posters.
not on the posters, but in the movie it says Dune Part 1.
Sure. But you know what I
The
mean? Like the
opening
marketing
credits
would
say
lead you to
Dune
believe
Part 1.
like like the marketing didn't lead me to believe that this was going to be
Well,
half the
they always
movie.
like if you let well like in the promotions, like in all the interviews, he always said that this is only one part of the book.
Sure, but to the typical audience going to it, that's just seeing an
And
advertisement
then
on
when it
TV,
came out, when she's only in the
not
movie for like
advertising that.
when Zendaya's only in the movie for like 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
I told her that that clearly means they haven't shot half the film, like because she doesn't really show
Yeah.
up until
No, like I knew
at a
going
certain
into it
point.
that I was only half the book because you told me that and other people had told me that. But like that's assuming that everyone who's going to see this movie is going to have one of those people who knows the book or cares enough about watching the interviews or all of those things to be able to then go and turn to their friend who's about to see this movie and be like, hey, I know you haven't read the book. You don't really know much beyond what you saw in the trailers, but this is only half a story and it's not really going to have an ending. You know what I mean? It's just like, what? You know, at least like, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But like the whole unfilmable thing, like the Lord of the Rings was thought to be unfilmable, and there was an attempt previous to animate it into a show, and it failed miserably. And then Peter Jackson came along, and he got it done. He got the job done. He got the first Fellowship done, and everybody was like, "Cool, nailed it. We want to see the rest."
I feel
And
like that
it
that's a
worked,
little
you know.
different though. I find like Lord of the Rings. We've been doing movies like Lord of the Rings for a while. Dune like is
Not
like
before Lord of the Rings,
I mean medieval films have been around forever, and that is what it is. It is a
but it's a
mystical medieval film because it's based with knights and in a sense
but
knights,
it's like a
horses,
it's fantasy. It's
orcs.
much bigger than just a
I understand
medieval.
that, and
That's
they've done
oversimplifying
sci-fi
it,
for years as well. But I feel like
right?
after reading Dune, kind of reading Dune,
Sure.
I don't like it's all. The reason I feel like it was should have been unfilmable is because it's all talk. Like there are
Yeah,
a few action scenes in there
very
in the
dialogue
book,
heavy.
but it's a
Yeah.
very dialogue heavy book,
Mm,
and that's why I feel like it should have been unfilmable
mm.
because it's so hard to make a film enjoyable when it's like when you want to make it an action film because everyone wants to make a sci-fi action film out of it when
Yeah.
it seems to be a sci-fi political film
Mm,
in a sense, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's weird. It's one of those things like, and the money clearly the first opening weekend made enough money for it to make a sequel,
Yeah. Well, yeah. They immediately announced that a sequel had been greenlit, right?
but I don't think the sequel is going to do very well. But we will shall see. We shall see. We probably have
But
3
that's
years
Dune.
before we see it.
Yeah, at least.
So
Well, Dune, I honestly I want to watch it again. I do want to watch it at home and, really be able to like stop and like ask those questions and look things up and get a better understanding as I'm going along. But
mhm.
yeah, in general, what if you had to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 movies in 2021, how is this year for movies for you, Alex?
I don't know. I would probably, 6 or 7. There could have been better. It could have been worse.
It's definitely been better years. Yeah, I'm
It's
right there
it's
with
one
you.
of
I
those
did
harder
a
things
7.
that you
Yeah.
can't get out, right? Like
Yeah.
production slowed down, everything happened, but
Hmm.
and we'll probably see the same thing a little bit next year. The productions went back
For
into a little
sure.
bit more, but
Yeah.
we'll see what's up.
Yeah, I'm a 7. Like this is a 7 out of 10 year for me. It was an okay year for movies. There was some high points, but there was a lot of time spent just like, yeah, I don't know what the next movie is that I'm looking forward to. Or if there was one, it was Spider-Man, and I knew it was December, and I knew it was months before I was going to get to see it. So,
That's the thing. Like, so that's why I mean, like, I can't. So the very last movie of the year,
mhm.
how does that define a year? Like, you know what I mean? That's why I'm saying like No Way
But
Home can't be considered part of it because now you've got I don't know. It's just that's how I see it. Like it's got to be part of like a movie year is like you got to look
is
at if
December not in 2021? If you go and
vaguely
read
it's barely
a
there.
book, is the last chapter of a book not part of that book? Is the
No,
last song on
usually
an
the last
album not
chapter
the
suck.
last song of an album? You know what I mean? Like it's part of the year, so you
Yeah,
have to
but I
rate it
see
as
it. I
part of the
just don't
year.
think so. Like something like that. Like I just like, especially if
So
it's
what?
like
Do
considered.
December
If everyone's going to
months
consider
just
this
don't
movie the
count
best movie,
in years?
well, if you consider about it this way, like I said, it's everyone's going to consider this is probably the best movie of the year. There's no doubt. There's no
Hmm.
way that nobody else. You could fight that. Some people said the last night was the last best, the last duel, or whatever. Not
Hmm.
likely. I don't know why they keep letting Ridley Scott make movies, but here's the thing. Um, basically, that. Anyways, I'll get into the last duel in a second, but yeah, I just don't think so because I think one, it's still in theaters. It's going to be in theaters until at least February.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those movies, and it's still going to dominate throughout January.
Hmm.
So like,
It will be
um,
talked about throughout 2022. I totally agree with you.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. So like,
Yep.
Spider-Man No Way Home is it's a different thing. If it was like Mamma Mia that came out at Christmas, which it did at that time when it came out, that's a different story. I think it depends on the film itself that it's gonna
Hmm.
how long it's gonna go through its
Hmm.
system. Like that movie's going to be in theaters, like I said, till February, but Mamma Mia would have only lasted 4 weeks. So that
Hmm.
would be the year of 2022. I feel like this movie is going to, Spider Man is still going to take over the box office of the movies coming out in 2 weeks. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like it's still
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be in the
Yeah.
top
What's
five or
what's
whatever.
gonna topple it for the next
So
month,
that's what I mean.
right? Yeah.
Like a movie like that. Like it all
Hmm.
depends on the movie. So that's why I consider No Way Home a movie where it's kind of its own category where it needs to be kicked out until there's something that's got to its level. Like
The
you could fight like Shang-Chi and
mhm.
Spider-Man and the Eternals all the same thing. One, because it all
Sure.
started in the same universe, sure.
Yep.
But those three are the top three filmmakers of the year. Then you put No
Yep.
Time to Die as four. Like you got No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and then No Time to Die. Sorry, no time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the top movie makers of the year.
Yep.
And but like Shang-Chi just brought back the movie industry.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
was
It
falling apart
definitely
all
reignited
summer,
it. Yep.
but it made $100 million in the first weekend or something, and it
Yep.
just blew up. And then Eternals came along, and it did the same thing. It
Yep.
fell short really quickly because it wasn't a fan favorite,
Sure.
but which I enjoyed. I mean, I get a lot of people. It was a lot for a lot of people, and I get it.
Mhm.
I've read people's reviews on it, and I get why people are finding it a little harder to watch. But um, I also don't at the same time because that's kind of a story I like. I like that kind of story. There was like
Yep.
a pointless scene in it, but when you see it, we'll talk about it. Anyways, so that's where No Way Home sits for me. I feel like it's still a movie going on, and it's still a major film going on. It's like if Titanic came out again, like or like Avatar
Yeah.
2, whatever. You know what I mean? Like when that comes,
I totally respect your viewpoint on it, and I understand what your viewpoint is on it. I think the way I'm viewing this isn't as a, is the movie meant to be looked at as a how well it does over a period of time, or is it the snapshot in time for the art history that it is, which is it was released in year 2021, it was reviewed and critiqued in year 2021, therefore it needs to be considered amongst the 2021 films. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it from like a box office or an audience score or anything like that over time. I'm just really looking at it like very like subjectively or objectively, I should say. It was released at this date, therefore it is categorized as such, and that's how it is reviewed and critiqued. You know what I mean?
I just think like it's a movie that like, especially like something like that, like Avatar, unlike me, everyone else was gonna made it the best film of the year. I don't remember when Avatar came out. I think it came around Christmas time too as well. But
I don't
I
actually remember.
considered I was one of the people who's like, this movie is just a movie. It wasn't that, high tech.
It was an
Everyone
experience. It was all, yeah.
everyone was
yeah.
like, "Oh, it's the fucking best movie of all time." Blah blah blah. It's not. It's fucking Pocahontas with a new generation. But anyways,
in 3D.
and a movie
When
in
3D wasn't
they're like, "Oh, but they
big
created
thing yet.
technology just for this." I'm like, "No, they enhanced technology just for it because they used it before." Anyway,
Go see
we can go down
Beowulf.
that we can go down that road all that time.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. That's just me. And then there's like movies like where people are all grunted that it didn't do well, like Gucci, like House of Gucci, and the Last Duel, which both I want to see.
Like the Green Knight as well.
The Green Knight was the Green Knight was okay. It was not a great movie. It was, if I never read the poems or whatever it's based off of.
Sure.
Like that's a movie that our friend Jorgensen needs to see, and she would know more about how to judge that one better than me. Like the act, like I love Dave Patel in it. Dev Patel, whatever his real name is, but he does really well in it, but the movie itself can get kind of confusing and all over the place. But like The Last Duel with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, what's his face, Adam Driver. That's just an Oscar baiting movie. Like, and then people get mad, like Ridley Scott gets mad that
overshadowed
or doesn't get a like, and they paid like $100 million to make it, and they didn't make that much, and people are like, oh, all these action films. I'm like, you also got to look at how your people are watching films nowadays.
Yeah,
like releasing that movie only in theaters was your downfall.
Oh,
because
definitely.
if they put it on a streaming device or if they put it on like HBO Max, I don't know who did
Alex. it. You can't do that. I'm a movie maker, and my movies go to theaters.
Yeah, like you could do that still. You could do it simultaneously, and it works, right? But I think a movie like that, you'll reach more audiences.
Totally.
Like if you look at the way back with
it's that old school director mentality. It's the same thing that we saw with Martin Scorsese, like 7 years ago.
It's like again,
the whole point against Netflix, and then
it's just
Oscar movie for Netflix, right?
Oscar baiting white people movies. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to bring race into it, but like there was obviously it's a historical movie, so there aren't a lot of colored people in it. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fictional, so you could just kind of like, it's a work of art. You can do whatever you want with it. But anyways, but it was it's an Oscar baiting film. The reason they release it so later in the year is for that purposes. Because if you release any of these films early in the year, they get forgotten about. They get moved on.
Yeah.
And that's why they release these Oscar baiting films at the end of the year. Yeah. But I don't know. And then like all these, like, again, generational directors like Ridley Scott and I forget who did Gucci. Was it Ridley Scott who did both of those?
Did he? He did too. Actually, that does sound. The House of Gucci. Gucci Mama. Yeah, Ridley Scott.
And I'm pretty sure he did The Last Duel as well.
He did. Yep.
Wow.
He had a busy year. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's always had an issue though. Like, he scrapped his other fucking Alien movies for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
But that is just him trying to get another Oscar, and those guys trying to get another Oscar, and whatever. Anyways, that's my point on Oscar baiting films. They're the worst.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But I'm not saying that The Last Duel is not a good movie. I think the actors in it and the way we've seen Matt Damon and Ben Affleck go on. Yes, there's some issues with Matt Damon, different stories about that, but the way they've been working, like at least specifically Ben Affleck writing the movies he's been picking lately have been a lot better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of want to see. And then
there's other movies that came out this year that I haven't seen, like Stillwater with Matt Damon apparently was quite good. There's a new one on Netflix that just came out, something Don't Look Up, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's a hit and miss movie. That's the Adam McKay movie that's kind of out of whack, but whatever. I'll see
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'll watch
yeah.
it eventually.
You saw Fast 9,
Yeah,
the only Fast movie I haven't seen in theaters. I'm not sad about it.
yeah.
Trying to think. There were a few other movies that came out this year, but I think on the whole we've covered the ones that we've seen that we really enjoyed, and we'll get into the movies worth looking forward to in 2022. But there were 2 trailers that dropped in the past week that should be talked about quickly. There's a new Batman trailer, or new The Batman trailer. Don't
Batman
get
trailer. Yeah,
It's The Batman. I'm excited. I think this trailer actually increased my excitement as opposed to, maintained or, brought it down a little bit. So I'm more excited now to see it than I was previously.
it's a shame. You should have been more excited to see it from the other stuff. Yeah, it gives a little more of a character story to it. Like the reason why Catwoman's there still hasn't really said why she's there, but
They don't need to tell us. Yeah,
yeah. But that's
she
why
lives in
everyone's
Gotham.
everyone's enjoying her as Catwoman. So Zoe
Yep,
Kravitz.
yep.
So we'll see. And then we
And
have
then,
a full story trailer for the Uncharted movie,
yeah,
which is a lot better. It makes it a lot more
yep,
entertaining.
it does. Yep, yeah. You get a better
Um,
idea of kind of the reason behind, the meetup of Drake
yeah, and
and
I mean the
Sully and
changings they're doing, like the
yeah,
2 ships that they're pulling out of the water. It's kind of
yep,
cool.
yep, yep.
Um, kind of stuff like that. It's not realistic in any sense of the world. Those ships would have just fall
No,
apart once
and
they hit.
shouldn't
What?
shouldn't be seen as such. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because those ships would literally fall apart once the air hit them. But science. You know,
Speaking of ships, did you hear about that old sailboat ship that's been like sitting on the rocks by the QEW in Hamilton there, like towards Niagara Falls for there? It's been there like as long as I can remember. They took the
uh-huh.
masts down, the sails. They
Mm.
actually they went in, they like removed it. They're actually going to remove the ship.
Yeah, because it used to be a restaurant at some point too, and it was a whole thing.
Was
Whole
it? I
thing.
didn't actually know that.
Yeah,
I just
like they did a
huh.
whole. It used to be a museum, then a restaurant, and then now it's just
Apparently it's just
vacant.
falling apart, and
Yeah,
so they're just
that's
like it's more dangerous than anything else.
yeah.
Well, that's
Quickly now,
movies. So
we'll
7 out
move
of
into
10 for
yeah.
2021. Yeah.
Before we get into TV, let's go into gaming real quick. Let's just get through that.
Ooh. Ooh,
We'll
going
leave the TVs at the end there.
sidetracking it. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. What do we got in gaming, Alex?
I don't know. You tell me. You played
Well,
more games than I did.
this was it's funny that you say that because I was just about to say this is like the least amount of games that I've played in a year, probably since I started playing video games.
Yeah.
So I played a handful of new games this year. I'm currently playing It Takes Two, which got Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Somehow, yeah,
Obviously, Mario Golf Super Rush was a lot of fun. I do want to play a bit more of it, to be honest. I just think that I wish that more of the levels were more like normal golf levels, but they were really, really trying to push for like um like the super rush mode. Like they really
yeah,
want
yeah.
everybody to like be running and doing
They
that
wanted to
mode.
make
They
it
put a lot of
Mario
emphasis
style.
into that.
Yeah,
And I the best the best time I have playing that game is playing golf with Mario characters and having some of the abilities. So like I
yeah,
want more than just the first 2 courses to be like more traditional courses. I want more of that. So like Nintendo, even if I have to pay for DLC, I will pay for DLC. Just give me a little bit more because I want to play more of that game. And there's only so many times you can play that same level. And the other
yeah.
disappointing thing is the future levels. Some of the other levels would have been fine, except they do so many crisscrossing of the courses of like the greenways that you just like, or the fairways,
Yeah.
sorry. That it's just like it's a mess. It's kind of hard to like line up your shots and figure it out. And it's kind of just like a free for all. Just hit it as hard as you can in any direction, then hit it as hard as you can again. It's a little bit disappointing at times. So
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah, Mario Party Superstars though has been a lot of fun.
Yep.
I've played that probably more at this point than I've played golf, Mario Golf,
Me too.
and
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I think I've won more than I've lost at this point, so of course I'm going to feel good about it. But I lost yesterday, and it stings still a little bit.
Wow. Where was my invite? Wow.
We were playing 4-player locally, so
Wow. Even ruder. That's fine.
but yeah, Mario Party Superstars has been a lot of fun. Obviously, like you have played with a bunch. Steph's been playing it a bunch with you and others. We got to get that Dave guy to join us though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like he's gonna ever do that. Too busy throwing wrenches at people.
Busy throwing wrenches.
But yeah, Yeah, that's Nintendo. I mean, that's the only things I play from Nintendo.
Yeah,
Um,
that's yeah.
um, I mean, you gave me Guardians of the Galaxy. I beat
Yeah, have
that
you
in
had a
two
chance to play
days.
it? Oh wow. That was
So
quick.
it's not a very long game if you're
No?
just playing it straight. I guess, yeah, like I
Sure,
was.
sure.
But I mean, it was good. I think a lot of people will find the nostalgic, like the music stuff and the jokes in it, a lot more fun.
Sure.
Um, I mean, the last boss was a bitch, but whatever. It's because they make you literally can't see anything, so you have to fight this thing
Mhm.
without looking at it. So
Yeah.
it makes it a little pain in the ass. It does. It comes back once you get a system out of it. It kind of works, but
Yeah.
it was just annoying as hell. But
Yeah. As we had in the comments there a moment ago, new Pokemon Snap dropped this year on Switch. I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but it is one that I would love to play at some point. I loved the original on N64. I absolutely loved it. So I think it's one that I would be able to spend some time with. I think I'd get over it pretty quick, knowing that it's still a very like linear mechanic, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah, Pokemon games. There's the new ones coming out, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What about God? What
Xbox
else
had a
came out?
few releases just recently. Finally, I feel like I've got something to play on my Xbox Series X. Forza Horizon 5. I have played a lot of Forza Horizon 5 last month. It's the most I've played on my new Xbox since I got it last November. And I'm having a blast. It's actually just a really good Forza Horizon game. It and like as I reviewed a few months ago when it came out, it is just like any other Forza Horizon game, but it's just the most refined so far, and it's fun. Halo Infinite, I
Racing game.
do intend to finally play it before this break is up. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it is like top of my list. Like the moment I have time to sit down, just like sit and actually play a game for a couple hours, that is a game I want to start up. Happy that that finally came out. So that's Xbox.
Behind the times, Matt. Everyone else
I know.
is playing it. Loving it. I don't know. I don't own it. I never will. Um, yeah, not much came out for the PlayStation, but it is what it is. Um, at
It
least that
was
I
it,
played.
it was
I
a
mean, people liked Ghost that came out.
yeah.
Well, that came out the year before, I guess technically.
Ghost of Tsushima was last year, yeah, and that was a PS4 game. Like, yeah, the director's cut came out on PS5 this year, but like this year in many ways was the year of the remasters of like the next gen upgrades. Like that's what we've gotten more of than anything else.
Yeah,
And like it's good. Like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order got an upgrade this year for the newer consoles. Ghost of Tsushima did. There's quite a few games that got upgrades, but like God of War and others, Final Fantasy VII Remaster or remake. But like I've already played them, and I don't have a lot of time to go back and play games right now. So when I choose to play a game, I want to play a new game. I don't want to go back and play a game I've already played just because it's improved now. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's been a disappointing year for the next generation of consoles because there just hasn't been enough. Fortunately, there is some new stuff coming in the new year, and even on Switch there was some titles that I wanted to play and I haven't had a chance to play. We were talking about Pokemon Snap. Metroid Dread was up there for me. I really do want to check that out at some point because I love the old side scroller Metroids. I played so much of those when I was younger, and
yeah,
apparently this one on the Switch was just like fantastic. So at some point I will be picking that up when I have some time. But
yeah. Oh, we'll get
yeah,
there. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is. I might get the one of the new. Never mind. We'll talk about that in a minute. What else we got out there? We got the new Switch OLED that came out. OLED.
yeah. So let's talk about
Can't buy
Switch in the
anywhere.
year
So
2021. So if you're a Switch owner in the year 2021, what did you have to look forward to? Well, you had to look forward to the new OLED if you really wanted to upgrade your console. Kind of an upgrade. It's like a 1.5 variation, so you're not really getting much more in terms of performance, but you're getting a much nicer screen. You're getting better battery life. The dock now has an Ethernet port integrated into it, so you don't need a separate dongle if you want to be hardwired in for internet, which is very nice to have. But again, is it worth the upgrade? It wasn't for me. It was for a lot of people. A lot of people who play portably a lot totally get it. I totally understand why you'd want the OLED screen. For me, wasn't worth the upgrade. What else? Nintendo also increased their online subscription costs this year, so that went up. But they released more stuff. Like there's N64 games out now, and you can get an N64 controller. that's wireless, so you can play them, the classic way. I really wanted to, and I never had a chance to, and I don't have the time to, but I wanted to pick up one of those N64 controllers and see, like, open it up and see how comparable it was to the other ones. If there was a way to like hardwire in, to the old N64, that way you have like first party Nintendo controllers again. But I just think it's too much of a hassle personally.
Yeah, only you would really want to do that.
I don't think only me, but it takes a certain kind of person. Yeah.
I'm sure other people would love watching you do it, but you're the only one who'd want to do it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? If enough people are interested in seeing that, let us know in the comments. Let us know on social media. If you want to see that, I will try and make the time. I will buy one of those controllers and I will see if I can make it work on my old N64, which is sitting in that closet right over there.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, mostly it's just kind of building for video gaming is just kind of like building people buying them. That's really what they're waiting for, is people to
It's been
have
a
them
hard year. Shortages.
people to just have them, and then that's when we'll see things like you see like updates for the systems coming. You see,
Yep.
obviously with PlayStation with their external and internal storage upgrades.
Finally. Yeah. That took a long time.
Yeah. But again, that's also just waiting. I think they purposely waited just more people to have them before they decided,
Yeah, I mean,
release them.
they did do one revision. I do remember around the time I bought mine where it was slightly lighter, and I can't even remember what they changed on the inside. I want to say it was like the heat sink or something was adjusted. But like from what I read, the initial reaction to it, the initial review by like Austin Evans on YouTube was this is a negative thing, that suddenly like the heating's been the heat management of it has been reduced. But then, with people that are a bit more technical with it, they looked at it and they said, actually, no, it's completely fine. There's no problem with like the change they made. It's actually just like a cost savings thing, but not in a detrimental way. So it's like, okay, whatever,
Yeah. So like you mean like you got Sony since launch has sold like 13.4 million PS5 consoles.
That's a lot.
So there's
of
out
consoles.
there. They're out
They
there.
are. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I don't know how many Xboxes there are, like, because the only information I can find about them is just till the end of September, which is only 6.7 million, which is astronomically out of
and
out of shape. But
we've talked about this before, like the differences with PlayStation's approach versus Xbox, and you can tell like PlayStation is still very focused on like get the people to buy the consoles and the games will sell as a result. And you can tell Microsoft's standpoint this generation so far, which is really interesting. I'm going to get into it in a second, but their approach so far has been make the games available on as many platforms as possible. So you can play it on your Xbox One, you can play it on the Xbox Series S, Series X, PC, cloud. Like they're trying to make like no matter where you want to play your Xbox games, you can play them. But like from like a marketing standpoint, it looks like Sony's winning, right? Like when you really talk about like who's winning this generation of gaming, it seems like Sony's winning. But Xbox Series X is technically the more powerful console. It's the only one of the two that actually supports Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. PlayStation does not support either of those formats, period. And they're actually like it is underpowered if you look at the tech specs compared to the Xbox Series X by a small margin. But again, it is technically the more inferior hardware. And yet same price. I think they're the same price, are they not? Like Series X and PS5 disc edition. Like I think they're the same price.
They're the same price. Yeah.
And there's no question when you talk to anybody about like what console are you trying to get, it's always PlayStation. That's the one people are always talking about. Because it's
the better system. You could say technically here, there, and there, but no, it's better system.
But it's an interesting approach.
It looks cooler. It's it's more fun.
Well, it's got a very interesting look. Yes, I think the best looking new console that came out last year was actually the Xbox Series S. It's just so sleek and so tiny. It looks great. You can fit it anywhere. But it is like the inferior console. Like it's only 1440p. It's there's no disc. You can't put games into it that way. So like it is like inferior in that way. But for like the reason, so what I was saying before that I was going to get at is Xbox's approach is very like counterintuitive to what they found a long time ago. And they talked about it during their documentary. They talked about how their focus had shifted at one point away from providing the best console and getting the most consoles out there to get the games out there. And that caused a big problem, and then they had to shift gears and they really had to push their console and all about the games. And here they are kind of doing that again. And I'm just like, I get it. You've got Game Pass and that's doing really well. It's actually making them a lot of money, right? But the new consoles, like when people go over to somebody's house and you see the consoles, everybody's going to have the PlayStation, and it doesn't seem like many people comparatively have the Xbox. You know, it's interesting. And like again, like they released cloud gaming even for the older Xboxes. So like I was talking to my nephew, and he was having trouble playing, I think, like Forza Horizon 5 or Halo Infinite. One of the two he was talking about, maybe he didn't have enough space on his hard drive or something. And he just booted up in cloud, and he said, it's playing better than it played when I had it installed on the console locally. So it's like, it's hard to measure, right? It's hard to measure how many people are playing Xbox games versus how many people are playing PlayStation games. But at least right now, with the data we have, PlayStation appears to be the clear winner so far in the console race.
Yeah, and it will be for a bit too, especially with the next year coming out, where they got what else they have in the next 2 months. They have Horizon Zero Dawn come back out,
big game,
which will be their big one, and they have another game coming out in the year later that year
I think
too.
God of War Ragnarok's expected to come out early next year too.
Yeah, and like these are PlayStation exclusives. Like, so they eventually will. Like, I mean, Horizon eventually made it to the Xbox or Microsoft,
the PC.
Yeah.
But it was a long time after. Like, it was not like, it wasn't in a way that it would be detrimental to sales of the PlayStation, right?
Yeah. But I think
this is where
they're gonna have like Horizon versions of the PlayStation. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, faceplated Horizon PlayStations out, or same with God of War, or Spider-Man ones. Like, you know what I mean? Xbox, I feel like can't really pull, like they did a Halo version that just came out. But I mean, like, I don't think they can physically make it look different. I mean, you could get, like, you know what I mean? The casings aren't as hard as for the PlayStation as the PlayStation can make.
Yeah, they definitely.
And that's the thing about PlayStation's always been, like, they've been able to do their editions, their special editions, their Darth Vader
Xbox
versions.
Had a lot of ones as well. I like they've both had special edition versions. I think what PlayStation's had going for it for a long time was the amount of exclusives they had, and Microsoft clearly had fewer. They had their big ones like Halo. Fable was one for a long time until they royally screwed that up. Forza has been a staple of the Xbox library, but they've had fewer exclusives. And like in the 360 era, they were known as the shooter console. Like if you want to play Call of Duty, if you want to play Medal of Honor, if you want to play Battlefield, you were playing it on an Xbox. Like the install base just wasn't there on PlayStation. But when PS4 and Xbox One came out, that balanced. And so now going to this generation, like Xbox has far fewer things going for it, at least at launch. And this is the big thing they were talking about over the last 2 years of E3 was all of the studios they've been buying, and they've just been buying a ton. I think they bought like 13 studios, big name studios, with the most recent one being Bethesda earlier this year, which sets them up for a really strong mid to long-term console cycle in terms of games. Like they're going to have some really good games coming. It's just they're playing the long game, and it's hurting them now, and it's hard to know if that long game is going to pay off.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, like PlayStation is doing it right, I think, right now, by they're waiting it out too. Like Microsoft's kind of playing it slow too, but so is PlayStation. They're waiting to see what Xbox does. And like you've seen the success of the Game Pass, so now they're like, okay, let's figure our own thing out.
They have to respond 100%.
But they're going to do it completely differently, and it could be better too. Like, you can.
Oh yeah, they could learn what hasn't worked for Xbox, right?
Yeah, and then you got like, what else they can do? They can, like, they can start building into like working with, like, they already work well. Like Nintendo works with Fortnite, like how they have it free for anyone who has a Nintendo account. You can start working with companies like that, which we've seen already with Call of Duty. I think they have a connection with Call of Duty a bit, but we'll see what happens. I mean, like the PS5, the PlayStation is also buying companies and putting it under their own studio, the PlayStation Studio. Like you look at Somniac is under PlayStation Studios. You look at Naughty Dog is technically under PlayStation Studios.
And that's
you know what I mean. Like
they've been ahead for many years, and I think that's where Xbox is
But
playing catch up.
that is
Right?
also the thing too. The two systems are two different gamers. Like you
Yeah.
see a lot of
Oh,
the time.
totally. Yeah.
You're like you look at Xbox. Xbox is just is very online based, very
Yes.
wanting to play your make sure multiplayer games are pushed.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you got PlayStation, you have very story based games. They do
Yeah.
have the multiplayer aspects, but like their main titles are all very single
Yep.
single player games, which is cool.
Yep.
That's why I like it. That's more for me,
and
right?
that's typically the more kind of games that I play as well. Like I'm definitely far more of a single player story based game than I am a like a multiplayer online game, and that has been like Xbox's push from the very beginning was always like, how do we make a PC for the living room? That was the whole goal from the get go, because they knew PlayStation was hard to develop for, Nintendo wasn't particularly easy to develop for. PC gaming is easy to develop for. Let's make a PC a console, and that's what they did, and it worked. And they were really early in the online space. Xbox Live was like what set the tone for what online gaming should be on a console. But it's not the pillar in their court anymore that it was a decade ago. Now online's available generally. You know what? Yeah, Xbox Live is still better than PlayStation Online, like 100%. I have more problems playing multiplayer on PlayStation than I do have on Xbox. But for the most part, we can get in, and when we want, we can play a game. Yes, we've had problems, but it's not so many times that I'm sitting there not playing any of those games as a result of the problems, right? Xbox, I've had far fewer network issues. So maybe if I was playing online all the time, yeah, maybe I would probably prefer to play on an Xbox, right? But it's just, for me, it's not enough of a pull to say like, yes, Xbox over PlayStation,
Yeah. I don't know. It's always PlayStation over Xbox in this house. So
yeah,
you're never gonna buy an Xbox again. So
let's talk really quickly about VR, because obviously that's been blowing up. I think 5 or 6 people have messaged me in the last 2 to 3 weeks that they got an Oculus Quest 2. Like, it is like blowing up. Dave bought 2.
yeah.
Like, it just seems like Reddit was just like lined up with people talking about how, oh, I got a Quest for Christmas. Oh, my kids got Quest for Christmas. Our whole family got Quest for Christmas. So it's blowing up right now. I really do. It's made me get back in and start playing, because I've had so many friend requests. I'm like, man, I kind of want to like get back into this and start playing some like games with people now that there's like more people to play with, to the point that I'm really sore right now. I played 2 days ago and I did my boxing game, and like I was out of breath at the end. I kind of felt sick, like I needed to throw up. I was working out so much, and now like all my arms and everything that you use to like box with is in a lot of pain. To the point, I probably won't be able to find it, but there was a Reddit post that I read earlier today that somebody posted that said like, played through of the fight, didn't make it out of a single match without like having to put it down because I was out of breath. And I'm like, that was me 2 days ago.
To each their own, to each their own.
But the Quest 2 has gotten a lot of upgrades as well. So it also came out last fall. We have our unboxing video on our YouTube channel. They've done a lot of updates as well. So earlier in the when it first came out, you could plug in with a cable to your PC and play PC VR games. This year they released what's called AirLink, which means if you have a good enough wireless connection, you can just wirelessly connect to your PC and play games, which gives you all the benefits of the wireless headset, while also gaining all the benefits of playing with a really powerful PC to power the games. So like, that's really cool. They've released things like you can track your desk, your couch, and your keyboard into it, and you can actually use it as like a virtual monitor. So you don't have to be limited by the number of monitors and whatnot that you own. You can just have a billion infinite virtual monitors for your computers, whether you have a Mac, Linux, Windows, it doesn't care. You can work with any of them. You can see your keyboard in virtual and reach out your hands and type on it. They're mapping all kinds of different keyboards in, so it actually looks like your keyboard as well. So yeah, if you want to use it for like work, you can now, which is kind of cool. phone notifications. I can actually see my all the different types of apps that I've approved for the Oculus app. I can actually see them pop up in VR now. So I don't have to lift up my headset every time my watch buzzes. I can just see if somebody's messaging me, which is really nice. They brought 120 hertz to it finally, and so some games are supporting that, which means you get extra smoothness for playing your games. The game library is obviously growing, and Horizon Worlds, they've got their own metaverse. Whatever you think or feel about the metaverse, whatever questions you have, I'm still not really into it. I went in there, I walked around, I saw people talking. I didn't really want to talk. Maybe that's just the introvert in me, and I would do the same in the real world, but it's not for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't care for VR. I'll see when the PlayStation version comes out. We'll see what's
Sure.
up, but
Yeah,
I don't really care for it. That's just me, though.
yeah. Well, gaming year 2021, Alex. So we had 7 out of 10 for movies. What is your thoughts on the gaming of 2021?
If I had time to
Sure.
play games this year, I'd probably still be a 6. I don't know. I didn't really have a lot of time to play a lot of games this year, so in comparison to other people who had a lot more time to play, so I don't know. For me, it wasn't that great just because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm going to be a little bit harder than you, and I'm going to give it a 5. 5 out of 10 for 2021 in terms of gaming. There was a lot to like. There was some to like. There was some games that I did get a lot of playtime out of, but on the whole, and this is besides the fact that I had a child born this year and I haven't had the time to play like I would have previously. I read through the list of games that came out this year, and there wasn't even that many that I wanted to play. Like really speaking, like candidly, there was more games that came out last year that I wanted to play this year than there were games that came out this year that I wanted to play. It's just, it was not a big year, and it goes to show that like all of the things going on with the pandemic is really affecting the output of big games. And the fact
there's
that we have
also a lot of things going on in the gaming world right now too, as well.
there's a lot. There's a lot of things going on.
Like you look at Ubisoft and their abuse allegations.
Yep, Riot just paid out $100 million to settle.
Yeah, you got Bethesda. Is it Bethesda?
Harassment.
Where is it?
I don't think it's Bethesda. Epic. Was it Epic Games?
No, Epic's problem was PlayStation
with
Store.
Apple.
Well, yeah, the Apple Store. Sorry. I think it was Bethesda.
I think it was Bethesda. That one doesn't sound right. I know there was at least one other studio, Blizzard.
It was Blizzard. Yeah.
Yep.
They had the big walkout. Because they just treated it like it wasn't anything happening. So there's a lot of things going on there. Blizzard's kind of got we got Diablo out of them, so like a lot of things going on. We'll see. So we'll see what goes on moving forward. Ubisoft, I don't think will slow down regardless because they have like 4 different.
Here's the thing:
accounts, but
Ubisoft can afford to to hire more people. With the amount of games that they pump out every single year, the amount of stuff they're working on, they can the crunch that they put on. They could hire.
The fact that we didn't get an Assassin's Creed game announcement this year is kind of hilarious, but.
Well, they did say after Odyssey that they were moving to a 2-year cycle. They weren't going to push it yearly anymore. So that was a thing that we knew already. And Valhalla did get a major update, if I'm not mistaken, in the last couple months.
Did like a DLC between the two of them too. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I mean, there has been plenty to play.
Well, they're working on something else too, something big. I can't remember what it is.
Sure.
Either. But
but going back to my review, 5 out of 10. There was some stuff that was really fun. There's some really good games that did come out this year, but on the whole, considering we have 2 brand new consoles, it was pretty disappointing at the amount of big games for those consoles to really be I need an Xbox for this, or I need a PlayStation for this. There wasn't a game that came out this year that made you have to get a new console. You kind of either got a new console because it was available and you're like, well, I might as well, right? That was me for the PlayStation 5.
Well, I think the Call of Duty did a little bit. I think that may have been last year's one, because Call of Duty was one of the first games that actually used the control feature, the controller feature,
the dual sense,
trigger. So that was kind of one of the big ones. It's on both systems, obviously, but it was the first one for the PlayStation to actually use its. When you're shooting, you're actually feeling it and stuff like that. So
which
I feel hopefully we'll start seeing that soon. But
There's some other stuff that PlayStation's got. Like they've got their, I can't remember what it's called, but something with their audio. They've got like a really like advanced audio engine built into it. And like so far only like the key like first party PlayStation Studios games are actually using any of it. And this is just the stuff that's like, yeah, it's new console, it's new technology. And a lot of these games were in development long before these consoles were finalized. So I understand like you're not going to get the most out of them, but like typically when you look back at previous generations of consoles, when you look back at like when PS4 or you know what, even the PS4 and Xbox One had pretty weak launch titles, but like the 360 era, the PS3 era, and everything prior to those, there were big games that came out with those consoles that like really made you want to buy them and play on those new consoles. And we still, a year in, I feel like there's not really anything that says you have to have a new console to get this at the best experience. Like Xbox is kind of like, again, what we talked about before. To get the best experience, yeah, I could just play it on my PC.
Yeah.
And like any of their big games that came out this year, I could just play it on my PC and get an equivalent experience. PS5, there's been some nice things, but like it's more just like nice to haves, not like must haves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 5 out of 10. That's where I'm at for 2021 for gaming. Let us know what your thoughts were, and if you disagree with us, or if you don't think we were being heard enough, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments.
Yes. All right, we'll go through TV real quick here. Yeah. What do we got? We got lots of stuff. I mean, Marvel kind of dominated their TV shows a little bit, or Disney Plus did, I guess.
First half of the year, anyway, right?
Yeah, they kind of kept going and going and going, and they made the Falcon and Winter Soldier, so that exists. Yeah. The first half of WandaVision. The first half of WandaVision exists. Well, I just don't really care for another buddy cop TV show for superheroes that are just annoying, So their characters are just done. I'm just done with those characters, and I just feel like, why do we keep needing them? Like Anthony Mackie, like the fact that he's Captain America now kind of also makes me annoyed, because I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, they're all like, oh, the original 5 are gone. Anthony Mackie's been there for fucking since America, like Captain America, Winter Soldier. He's been here for almost 10 years
since Phase 2. Yeah.
And so I'm like, and same with Bucky, and I'm like, guys, why can't we be done with these characters as well? Let's start bringing in these other new characters and start using them.
I feel like they're just transitional characters at this point to the new breed. Like
I hope so, but it sounds like they're going to be used a lot more. Like we're getting a Captain America 4 movie with him being the lead, right?
Yeah, it's how successful is it going to be? You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. They're going to put a lot of buckets into this, and that's really annoying, because I'm like, okay, these characters. Like, I'm glad that, like, even like we look at Thor 4 coming out, that's going to be the end for Chris Hemsworth. Maybe we don't. We already know that he's already passing the torch on. Sure. So what's going to be next for that, right? I'm sure. Like, I know a lot of these actors said they'll play him forever, whatever, and they can now with the multiverse being blown up, being what it is. But I don't know. I'm just tired of these characters, and we need to start moving on from them.
It's been a lot. It's unprecedented. We haven't had any other series ever that has given us this much of these same characters, same actors, reprising these roles over and over and over again. It's never been at this level, right?
Yeah.
Like you could argue like Fast and Furious is kind of, but like they're 9 movies in with mostly the same characters throughout most of the films, at least the key characters. But like it's not the same level. Like it's that's happened over 20 years to get 9 films. We're talking about since 2008 when Iron Man came out. So 13 years, and we've had what 20 plus films at this point. Like
that's what I mean. Pace. So it's like with the Falcon and the Soldier, I'm like, all right, these characters are done. It's like I don't kill them at the end of the show, and they didn't.
And that show was fun, but it wasn't like, I agree. Like it wasn't a great show. It was definitely the weakest.
Just the buddy cop thing kind of was just like meh. And then we'll see. I think with Doctor Strange coming up, we'll see the end of. I think we'll still have Doctor Strange around for a bit, because this is only technically his second movie, his solo second movie. But I think we'll see the end of Wanda for a bit.
WandaVision was a great, like that was a high bar.
Better. It was a weak start for me.
I know you didn't care much for the start. I really enjoyed the start. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I thought it was just like, you're writing something that it's just like I get it. It's getting to a point where you're writing it to make sure that's to set a story to where you're gonna get a big reveal.
Well, it
But
was
I feel
also like
like
harkening back to the comics, right? Like that's how the comics were done. You didn't really know what was going on. You were seeing glimpses, but you didn't really know what was going on in those first few comics until
well, the
well
first two
into it,
episodes
right?
didn't show anything outside of Westville, and then eventually they
Right.
did. That's when
But
the
they were
show
giving
started picking
us
up.
things to let us know things were off, things were weird,
Yeah,
which
I
you
know. I
obviously
just
knew things were off, but
yeah,
like they were
that kind of stuff. And I didn't like.
establishing
I don't.
Westview.
And Vision's kind of a weak ass character in the first place.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
um, and then there was the Mighty Ducks Game Changers that just comes out. The second season comes out next year somewhere
Sure.
without um Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
So
That was
why
a
even do it?
big. Yeah.
Um, what else is there? There was Loki, which was again okay. It got
A lot
better
of
at the
people
end.
really like Loki. So like I've had a lot of
But see, here's
conversations with people.
again, Loki's one of those kind of characters. To me, um, where we killed him. We're done with him.
Oh yeah,
He's
you
been in
were
every
over it
movie almost.
Loki before the show came out. Yeah,
And
totally.
then, but I understand there's a big fandom for Loki. Loki is one of the
Yeah,
most is the most
beloved.
infamous beloved
Yeah.
characters out of the whole series. Out of all
Yep.
the characters, I think Loki's is probably number one that are
Probably.
most women, specifically women, are really into. At least that's what TikTok tells me. I know there's probably a lot of guys too into it as well. But I mean, if you look at like a statistics point of view, I would assume more women are into him. Well, apparently he's a good looking dude. I don't know.
Oh, shut up. You like him.
No, I did. And then I saw 4, 5, 6, 7 movies with him, and then I'm like, all right, we're done now. You know what I mean? Like yes, we saw a little bit of human growth in this TV show, but again, to me, he's like Loki's a piece of shit. That's his thing. He's just a garbage human being. He's not even human. He's a god. And so it's like he's just supposed to be the god of mischief.
Yeah.
And now he's all nice and happy and in love with himself. So it's kind of fucking weird. But that's the whole thing. So we're getting
Let's talk
a season
about
2 of that.
high bar from Disney Plus. What if and what the consequences of that show? That was pretty great. Like, yes, not every episode was like, you know, a home run. Some of them were weaker than others, but on the whole, by the end of it, I was like, dang, what they're building up with this is really exciting to see what
From a story
implications it's
point
gonna
of view,
have.
yeah. I agree. From a story point of view, it was good. I don't really. The animation was kind of weak for me. I didn't really care for it. I don't care about animation.
I mean, you're
that
not
much,
into animation, yeah.
but like I felt like that one. I feel like they could have put a little bit more work into it.
Mm.
Like especially with other things that they've got. Yes, they were rushing it out because they want to get the story going. So I mean, I think they did the second season at the same time they did the first season.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So that's why they could rush it out so quickly. But yeah, I don't know. It's I think a lot of people like. There's also this whole thing where like anything Marvel does, there's always going to be a very, very strong positive response for it, and that's just and it's not wrong to have that. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things, especially like you've on TikTok right now, where a lot of people are right now with their media is TikTok, and it's like there's a huge aspect of it of the algorithm for me right now. So I see a lot of movies and television stuff, so I see, and they just praise everything Marvel. Like, I rarely see a negative thing about Marvel, and it's just like, all right, you have to see the faults in there though. So if you can't talk about the positives without the negatives, and that's why I'm here on this podcast is to talk about the negatives. That's why I'm here.
Glad to have you, Alex.
But yeah, like, it's setting up a really interesting storyline with Doctor Strange, and I think that's the best thing that came out of it. The other stuff kind of weak about it. Don't really care about the captain, the Britain Captain Britain.
Yeah. I think that was just to help tell you like, hey, there's other like. Stories in the universe happening, but like,
and I don't really like in the
story
T'Challa thing. I thought I think that doesn't do T'Challa justice. I think him being the Black Panther was one of the biggest things for T'Challa. I don't know. Sure. That's just me personally. I think that was more just a fun story. I think they wanted to do, especially with Time Lord at the end there, or Star Lord at the end,
and it gives you more of what was Black Panther's nemesis? Michael B. Jordan played
Killmonger.
Yeah, it kind of gave us more of him, which people loved Killmonger.
I think that story was good. That one was good, where he was working with Tony Stark, and then It kind of went Tony Hawk, Tony Hawk, skateboarder, and then he went to go
Killmonger
Tony Stark.
doing 900 spins at the X Games.
But I think that story actually would have been a better story than what we saw actually in real life. I feel like that story, because it still went around and him taking over.
Yes, yeah. One way or the other, he was working.
I think that was a very interesting story. I think that would have been a better story, to be honest, than what we saw. I mean, don't get me wrong, Black Panther was one of the better movies they've done in an opening character movie.
Yep, by far.
And the villain way that Michael G. played Killmonger was well done.
Yep.
So I think those two just had a good chemistry you saw with each other. And unfortunately, we're never going to see that again. But yeah.
Is it because Killmonger died?
Did he though? I mean, the world is open. We never know anymore. This is like with the multiverse, they can bring back other characters as other actors. You never know. Tom Cruise could be Tony Stark in the next little bit. You never know.
Or Spider-Man, because he never ages, just like Tom Holland.
There you go. Yep.
Wow, you sounded really depressed when I said that.
I don't think he could be Spider-Man. I think we have enough Spider-Mans as there is. If they introduce another Spider-Man, then there's no.
Well, I mean, there will be another Spider-Man eventually
in 10 years. But I mean, if they,
it wasn't 10 years between Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, and Tom Holland.
That's what I'm saying. If they introduce one in that short of a time frame, then we have a problem.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But
I mean, I was upset when I heard that Tom Holland had been cast as Spider-Man. I'm like, but Andrew Garfield is currently anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the two movies, they obviously weren't written properly for Andrew. Like if you look at the one scene in the Amazing Spider-Man, when he's there's a car thief or something. I can't remember exactly. I remember the scene, but he was the guy pulled out a knife. This is why I remember it, because he pulled out a knife and then he was like, "Oh, I'm so scared," and blah blah blah. And then was Spider-Man, how Spider-Man would have reacted, all equally, and then but then they switched it to get so dark and gingy all of a sudden, in the same scene, and I'm like, that's why it failed, because you're trying to represent an emotion that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
And the thing with the Tom Holland Spider-Mans is it took my biggest fault with that is that, but a lot of people see this as a positive, and I get it, but it's just me as I'm impatient. Is it took him 3 movies to build a Spider-Man, to show the
whole 3 movies was his origin.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They took 3 fucking movies to get to a point to be him to be this where he needs to be. And I'm like, for fuck's sakes. I'm not saying they were bad movies. No. I mean, no, the first one was kind of The only thing that saved it was that final scene with him in the car saved it was him and the Falcon or whatever the hell his name is in the car scene when he finds out that he's Spider-Man. I thought that scene was just well played by both of them. And how he reacted to him finding out, et cetera, et cetera. It was a little, but anyways, that's what saved that movie for me. And then Far From Home was a little bit of a mess. It was all over the place a little bit. Jake Gyllenhaal is wasn't and then the big mystery with him not being an imposter, Samuel L. Jackson being I think I found that so annoying. I was like, because we're not going to deal with that for 5 years. We're not it won't come out until Secret Wars, which comes out in 2 years. So it's just so annoying, something like that. But anyways, that's just me. But there's a lot of petition to give Andrew Garfield a 3rd movie now, because he redeemed himself in this film.
Yeah, he did.
So anyways, that's
in what film, Alex? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Moving on.
Then we got Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, it was a fun series. Fun watch. Yeah.
I hate
a show about people making a podcast show about a murder that happened in their building.
Yeah, it was fun. Star Wars Visions. I've actually not watched it, but
I don't think I've seen all of it. I was thinking about it as I was writing it on our notes today, and I was like, I know I've watched a good amount of it, but I don't know if I ever finished it, because every episode's a unique story, right? And it's a unique studio doing the animation for that episode, and I can't remember if I've actually seen them all. I need to go back and check now, but it was fine.
Yeah. And then we got Hawkeye. it was okay. It got saved by having the last 2 episodes.
Yes, the last
Um,
2 episodes is what,
especially
made
with
that
like, well,
show.
you have Yelena, whatever her name is.
Yep,
Uh, Florence Pugh's character, she kind of saved that show with her and Kate Bishop's actions together.
yep.
Like
And then
I don't
Kingpin.
mind Haley Steinfeld, like how she played that character, but it got a
Yep,
lot better when she had
yep.
somebody on her
Somebody
level, like some of her age group to work with.
to balance her out. Yeah.
Yeah, because when
Yeah.
the scene with her and Yelena in the apartment was actually pretty clever,
Oh,
and
it was
then
fun.
the fight
Yeah.
scene that they had was
Yeah.
pretty good too. So, and that's
Yeah.
like high praise for me. So
Yeah.
keep it
Is
up.
this the end of Hawkeye's story now? Like, is he done?
It said season finale, so I don't know if we'll get a sequel.
Yeah, like because like his character doesn't need to do anything else. Like he's
Well,
like
I mean,
the
if it's
way
a mentor
him.
thing still, right? Like he's the
Yeah.
only Avenger, like original Avenger that's still alive, well, other than the Hulk. But
Well, and
and
Thor.
Thor, but Thor, I mean, Thor is going to be moving on. We already know Thor is kind
Yeah.
of we have to assume that Thor is pushing his way out.
Yeah.
But I assume the Hulk will always be around, especially with She-Hulk coming out.
Mm.
Because he can't die. So, because like one of the biggest story arcs in the comic books
But then
is
you
that,
Mark Ruffalo, and he looks like super old, even in like Shang-Chi in the post-credit scene.
yeah, that's the thing though. Like in the comic books, Hulk is like is literally the last person on Earth to live, and
Mhm.
like because he can't die, he literally
Right.
just can't die. The Hulk won't let it happen. And there's a point where like I don't know who it was, like wiped out the whole Earth, and the
Yeah.
Hulk was the only one alive. And it was Hulk and obviously Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And Bruce Banner tries to end his life like 40 times, but the Hulk just kind of stops him.
It's not
And then
depressing at all.
eventually they figure it out, find a way that he can separate himself from Bruce Banner. And Bruce
Okay.
Banner dies, and the Hulk is just alive by himself. And it's like that's literally how the comic ends, and it's just him.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, no, Hawkeye. I think it's gonna be building into something else.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, you know, Hawkeye. Maybe you never know.
I could just see the Hulk with like a bow and arrow, just sharp shooting.
You never know. But
What if that could be season 2? What if episode?
yeah, I think they're going to be leading. Like, I think the Secret Wars is kind of going to build everything up to everything.
Yeah.
Because it'll probably be based in New York, like everything is. We'll see what they decide to do with Kingpin, because if he's alive, which I'm sure he will be.
Yeah.
Because I think they're doing an Echo TV show. So, and she's Echo, I'm pretty sure, the deaf girl. So
Yeah.
and that would be the big bad in that. Vincent D'Onofrio, whatever his last name is, wants to be the next big bad. Obviously, we already know Kang is going to be the next big bad, but
Mhm.
I think in the TV series you could have Kingpin running throughout all of them. If
Yeah.
the next few TV shows, whatever they choose to do, especially if they're based in New York, right? So, like, I mean, we got Kang that's gonna run through Loki, and it's gonna probably be based. I don't know how long that one's gonna play out,
Right.
but I'm sure we'll see him in the multiverse. I think it's already been announced that he's in the multiverse movie, but because he kind of ran the multiverse,
Yeah.
in a sense. That's
He
like what I said
oversaw it.
in one of the
Yeah.
other podcasts we talked about. We saw that. I didn't show you the video, but like you could see at the exact same time when Wanda in WandaVision, it's like from the episodes, like at the exact same times, like time bits at the same times, you see Kang react to Wanda's action
Mm.
at the same times, and it's like, I mean, that's just could be coincidence, but like,
Yeah.
but if it isn't, that's a pretty clever thing for those guys to do. Like
Yeah.
he reacts completely, it's like, oh snap, it's happening. But it could be like multiverse thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
Kang has seen it all, so we'll see what happens. So that's TV for Disney Plus. I'm sure there was other TV stuff out there, but we just didn't watch.
Oh yeah, they had a lot of stuff coming out, but I think like for us, that was some of like the bigger stuff that we
Like
covered.
Turner and Hooch. Turner
Yeah.
and Hooch. Nobody saw that. But yeah. And then we got Netflix with their shows.
Yeah.
Big game changer with Squid Game.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, they kind of came
like,
on late for TV for me this year, anyway. Like I
well,
didn't
yeah,
really.
well, a lot of things for Netflix, like they take from TV like stations. Like you look
Yeah.
at like Titans just went on there. Season 3 of Titans just went on there,
yeah.
and that was only on DC Fandom or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I really only am paying attention to like the original content from them, and
Yeah.
like as I was trying to look through like the release calendar, I was just like, there was not a lot of stuff that came
Well,
out
they Lost
throughout
in
the
Space
year.
just came out, and that was good. And that was the last season. I
Okay.
think it was fun. That's a Netflix show.
Yeah. Arcane was like definitely one of my
Yeah.
top series of this year for sure.
Mhm.
The Witcher season 2 just dropped.
Yeah.
I just finished that the other night, and that one was I don't think it was as good as the first season.
Yes. Lots of
I know
fucking
you were
stupid
kind of
shit happened at
saying
the end of it.
last week, but yeah,
Yeah. This
it,
fucking
it,
dragon comes out of fucking nowhere. Like honestly, I know it coming out of like it's coming out of a different fucking universe, and
world.
then
Yeah.
the fucking horseman at the end, and like it's just so fucking. So where are they gonna go? Are they gonna
2021,
fight
the
these?
year of like the multiverses for every
Like, are they gonna go fight these
show.
fucking things, or are they gonna go fight this other darkness? Are they gonna create more witches, or are they gonna go fucking do this? Like, there's like, what storyline are you gonna go
What are they
fucking
gonna do?
follow
It's a
here?
choose your own
It's
adventure,
like,
Alex. It's a
I
choose your
know
own
it's like
adventure.
they've opened so many doors for themselves, but also created so many problems. Like now you have so many questions of how they're gonna solve this problems and these problems. I'm like, and you're only releasing 10 episodes or a season, so it's like I get it. So it would be a very expensive show to create. I don't blame them,
Yeah.
but like, it's just so annoying.
I enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed season 2. I thought it was a fun season, but like comparatively to the first season, it was not as strong.
Oh, and the acting was so fucking annoying in some scenes. Like the fucking
there was times that it was rough. Yeah.
like when they were doing the fucking training with her, and well, she was just doing it herself, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you're not showing any emotion doing this. You don't even look frustrated. You just look like your face is there.
Well, she just had like one face through a lot of it. Was just,
I'm like, you're not even showing frustration. You're not even showing anger. And I understand that's kind of what you're trying to do here, but like,
yeah.
no normal human being doing something over and over and over again. I get it. She's not a normal human being, but over and over again is not going to show. Like, it's just I don't know how they let that one go. But
A lot of like the way you find out what she's feeling or what's going on with her is because they had to talk about it. It's just like now, like Henry Cavill, I think is still like just fantastic as Geralt. He brings a lot of knowledge of the series and the show, and I know he like is very active on set with making sure that things are happening in a certain way. And so like his portrayal and his acting throughout this season, I was very okay with. I thought he did a great job. The other Witchers, I felt like, and I commented during one of the last episodes when you see a bunch of the Witchers fighting and some of them dying, and I'm just like, man, a lot of these Witchers are pretty pathetic compared to Geralt.
Oh,
like,
and then the fact that they just like decided to like Yennefer, this pointless character in this fucking show. Like, first of all, she was so powerful in the first one, and I get it, she lost her fucking power, but like now she's just like this second-rate character in the story. I'm like, she was the second lead in this fucking show, and now she's just there. I was like, you're not doing this character justice
the whole series
anymore.
of like bringing them back together, and then her having to realize that she's not just the magic, that she's more than the magic, right? But like, yeah, I do agree. It was pretty.
They just didn't do anything with her, especially in that last fight. Like, she just shows up at the very end. Like, I get it, she was building the fucking thing, but like,
yeah,
holy fuck, you literally just let this character go. It was just like, well, me. I'm like, you had this, and I feel like that character did very well in the first season, and it's just like, now you're just kind of like, yeah, she's here now. She's a girl. She's in love with him, but he's not in love with her and doesn't trust her anymore. I'm like, oh, you played that character. You wrote that character really wrong in this season. And that's just my opinion. But whatever. Maybe we'll see more of it in the next time in 10 years.
Yeah.
We see the next season.
10 years. Probably like 2.
That's still very long.
Yeah.
But that's just
TV
what else is Henry Cavill doing anyways? Nothing. He's not doing Superman, that's for damn sure.
Just go really quickly back to Squid Game. So season 3 just got announced with Netflix. So they're just confident that show is going to continue to be a major hit.
Well, it seems how much they go with it. I don't know. I can't really see where else they can go with it. But yeah, I felt like that could have been a one and done kind of story. They didn't. The ending always made me mad. How he just gives up and goes back. I understand why he does it. Like, again, I get why they're doing these things, but stick to a fucking plot here, bud. Just go back to your daughter. Like, it just Find out.
Yep.
Just I don't know. That's just
Prime
and then he
Video.
got red hair all of a sudden.
Yeah. Prime Video. So Wheel of Time obviously just finished up last week.
Oh my god.
So you liked it that much, eh?
Jesus Christ. This show.
You know, I saw an ad today that said it's the best fantasy series ever on television.
Have they ever seen fantasy series on TV? I don't think this person's ever seen. Like, oh my god.
There was
just like
I think there was a lot to like. There's a lot to not like about this first season. I already kind of harped on it in a previous podcast, but the like anytime they were like indoors outside of the Witcher's castle, and I think episode 2 when they went and visited his friend who was the Beast. It was basically Beauty and the Beast, but
we're talking about
Witcher
again.
Yeah, what was I just talking about?
Wheel of Time.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I just got
you gotta just switch.
I totally did. No, yeah. So okay, so every time they're indoors in Wheel of Time in like the castle, it looks terrible. The lighting is awful. And I just like couldn't get over that. This is
I found that a lot.
Sony studio produced by Amazon, and like they just couldn't get the visuals down. Like they just struggled with it constantly.
I find that a lot right now because like before we will go into detail a little bit later, but when I was watching the Book of Boba Fett today, they had a dark scene. It was just so dark. Like I don't know why everyone's just choosing to stay dark. I don't know the scene exactly. I can't remember. I was just like,
I just watched it before this too, and I'm struggling to think of.
And I understand that. I remember he turns on a light a little bit later. There's 2 scenes. It's obviously the one at the beginning, and we'll be finished. When we get into it, we'll go into. But I'm like, I don't know why everyone's keep choosing to use these dark scenes and keeping them so dark. Like, it's not like it's in a movie theater where it's going to shine a lot brighter on a bigger projector. It's a TV, so unless your TV setting is high up, the settings are high enough, you're not going to catch it as much. And maybe that's because if you look at the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones scene with the dragons, that was a big mistake, and I thought people would have learned from that because he did that intentionally. And I was like, why would you do that intentionally? This is literally the fight that everyone's been waiting for. Like, I understand he was trying to go for, like, to make it a little bit more realistic, more, to give the feel of it being scary and dark in situation. That didn't work.
Yeah.
It just frustrated everyone. And I feel like when people do it in other scenes like this, especially something like these shows, like, come on now. Like, especially a streaming service. Like,
super quick sidebar. Speaking of Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage, I guess, recently like made a comment to someone somewhere about the end of Game of Thrones, and he defended it, and he was trying to say like, "Hey, like it's a really great show. Like it subverted expectations. It was great." I'm just like, I'm so sick and tired of people telling me that like subverting expectations is like the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like that no matter what, that's gonna make it great. And I think we learned that after the Last Jedi, the episode 8. It was just like everything was a gotcha moment.
So we know what's wrong with Star Wars. The fact is they had 3 different people write 3 different movies, and then cancel one and bring back somebody else. It was like, why would you do that? Write a story, and you could have one full story written and have 3 people, different directors. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You should have,
but you can't have 3 different people writing 3 different movies for one story. It doesn't work that way. And that's why it failed. But anyways, because there was no cohesive. This person wanted to do it this way. This person wanted to do it this way. And then they didn't like that one. So they decided, hey, let's fucking do it this way. And then the third person who was supposed to do it was like, no, you really fucked up my story. So I quit. And then, fucking Star Wars.
But coming back to Wheel of Time, tell us how you really feel, Alex.
Jesus Christ. The person who plays Rand, like, is a fucking annoying as hell. First of all, I can't get past this lackluster of a character actor. Like, it's just, I can't do it. And then,
pretty bad.
And then it really shined to me when they did the whole scene. Spoiler alert to, you haven't watched the finale yet, but the whole thing with the dark whatever he is. Lord. Is it the Dark Lord? Because the Dark Lord sounds like Harry Potter, so that's why I'm like,
Dark Lord. It is the Dark Lord. It's used like everywhere.
Or the Dark One. Is it called the Dark One?
Oh, you say
the Dark One. But the Dark, and then like they built up this whole thing that the Dark One and this guy, and the dragon are gonna have this big epic moment.
Nope.
It was the most boring fucking thing I've ever watched. I was like,
Yep.
what is happening right now? This is supposed to be an epic moment. What?
Yeah.
You're just talking to each other. Like,
And you
yeah,
just
there
get
could
this
be,
like
you could have some epic
single
conversations,
moment.
right? You could have some
Yeah.
epic conversations, but they didn't even have that.
It wasn't even an epic
And then he
conversation. No, it
threatened
was
Maureen, and
truly.
Maureen was like, me, white stuff everywhere. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like,
Yeah, so and having read the book, I knew that it was a pretty like underwhelming thing because this wasn't the last battle, which is what it's advertised as throughout the show.
I'm clear. I'm sure they're going to meet up
Right?
again
They tell you that.
eventually. But
Oh yeah, like it escalates. And there are big fights to come, absolutely.
But this is the first season. This
You're
is the
told,
first.
well, it's the first book, right? And so
yeah, but I mean, from a
thing is-
writing a TV show point of view, this is the
yeah, totally.
this is your ending moment. This
That's
is
your
what's going
chance
to bring
change something from
people
the book
back.
to make it a bit more exciting. Absolutely,
This
yeah.
is what's going to bring people back. But you had
Yeah.
no way. Like, I have no interest in watching the second season with him walking away by himself. The Asian dude finding her all of a sudden. Like, yes, she trained to track her, but okay, and now she has tracking train abilities. Like, where the hell did that come from? Why does she know that? Like there's no explanation to why.
Yeah, they never tell you what it is. It's just like, I didn't track you. I tracked her.
Yeah, but how do you know how to track people? You're a healer, for fuck's sakes.
And this is one of those things. This didn't happen in the book, so I'm like, this is one of those like really weak spots where I'm like, clearly they just did this to like, further their creative choice with the story, because there was nothing behind it. They had no answer for that, and they build it up really early when she first catches up with Lan. He's like the whole season. You're just like, how did she do it? Lan's really curious how she did it, and then it's just like, it wasn't you, it was her. Okay.
And I'm like, and then you're meeting my family, but you know what? They're not really my family, but they are, but they're not. But I'm like, okay, what? And now we're gonna sleep together. Cool, but I don't want you can't love me. Blah blah blah. I'm like, fuck sakes, guys, what is this? What is happening? I have no interest in watching the second season. I'm going to, but I have no interest into it. So, like, this show has just
there's stuff they need to improve on for a season 2. They need to, for me, visuals like has to get an upgrade. I was pretty let down often in this show. Like, whoever's doing the visuals for The Witcher should do the visuals for Wheel of Time, because like,
well, the whole dark thing. It's the once they can get a dark thing out of the picture, I think like even their dark scenes, and then like the only dark scene that actually worked was when they did like the magic, but there was so much light when the 5 witches were not witches, the 5 women were using their powers.
Yeah,
and like I thought that scene worked really well, but now we have this character that you built up that we love with this, who's in love with the dragon reborn, is now dead. I'm like, cool, great, or is somewhat dead. I don't remember. I don't really remember how she died. Yeah, she gets burned up and she uses all her power, and then Nain or whatever her name is all depressed and sad and crying all over.
Edwin, Edwin.
Edwin, was it Edwin that lives and Nain?
Yeah,
either way,
lived.
They put all this effort into it.
Dies.
Yeah, either character.
Egwene brings
I was
just
like, what? This, just follow through, kill the character or don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wanted at least one character to die, and it was kind of upsetting that they're all still there. Yeah,
and then, well, I guess the wolf guy kind of dies, but
Perrin,
even then,
die,
didn't he? He gets killed. Like, doesn't he get like he gets trapped or something?
He sees everybody else in the room die, and then they all take off.
I thought he died. I thought he got killed too. Did you fall
asleep while watching this episode?
No. I thought he got killed too. I thought because they
he was just standing at the back of the room as they left.
No, because he shows up and questions the guy, doesn't he?
He was talking to them.
Yeah, and then I thought they killed him.
No, they had a whole conversation because he's like Tavern, and so the Dark One made him like watch them, blah, 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 blah. And the whole thing was just them like basically saying like, you're losing, but they left. They didn't kill him.
Clearly, I didn't care enough. But I was just like, fuck. And that guy and that actor too. Like,
yeah, he was rough.
Oh my god.
Actor. Yeah.
This whole show, man, it's just like, what?
Moiraine's pretty solid. Lan is solid for their characters.
Kind of for their characters. Like, their characters are supposed to be emotionless, and they're kind of pulling it off.
Yep.
But
yep. I like them.
It's just like everyone else is like
annoyed me a lot. She was just constantly like, screw the Aes Sedai. And it was just very like basic. It didn't feel like there was a lot of reason behind it. Like she just tells you that her mentor, the previous wisdom, got turned down, and that was her whole reason for hating the Aes Sedai. It's like,
Yeah,
that's
because
it.
one
That's
person
why you
gets like,
hate them.
yeah,
So completely hate them because your
yeah.
mentor got turned down to be an Aes
And
Sedai.
then
Like,
and like this happened like an episode or two before when they show the backstory to the Tavern Seat or whatever her name is, uh, uh, and
yeah,
that
Aemon Seat.
literally
Yeah.
why did you show us that? There
I
was
don't.
literally no purpose for
I
you to
know.
show us that. Okay, she came from nowhere and now she's the
Maybe
most
for future seasons, but for this season, it served zero
like
benefit.
granted the
And
only
none
thing
of
it
that happened
showed
in the first book, by the way. None of
the,
that was talked about in the first
the
book.
only thing
So,
it
like,
shows is that she came out of nowhere and now she's the most powerful thing. Like
yeah,
that's literally all it showed. But that
yeah,
doesn't mean anything until you use something for that.
yeah.
And they
Yeah, I totally
didn't.
agree. It was
And
it
it was just
was
like,
a waste of our time to see that this season. They could have done that in an episode for season 2 when they're actually doing something with her character.
yeah. I was
Yeah,
just like, oh my god.
yeah,
This
that was
whole
a weird
show, man.
choice.
This whole
Anyway,
show.
so that was season 1 of The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, good 5 out of 5 on that one. And I'm rookie numbering that. There's
5 out of 5. It's a
yeah, not
perfect
5 out of 5,
show.
5 out of 10. Sorry. I think what I meant to say was 5.5 because I don't do rookie numbers.
Sure. I think
5.5 out of 10 is
I'm like around a 6, so not far off from you. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. There were some really cool moments, but there's a lot that they can improve. A lot they can improve for a second season, and I want the show to continue because I have a vested interest. I read the books a long time ago, and I've been waiting a long time. Like, I remember in like 2010 when Universal had acquired the rights to make a movie of it, and I was just like so stoked. I've been waiting a long time.
My thing here is my problem with this show is that there's the show Shadow and Bone, which is a young adult like teen book, romance book,
Yep.
was written and done better. Granted, it's a Netflix show. Maybe it was this
Yeah.
why, but
Yeah.
and they're kind of similar plot lines. Like there's a
Sure.
chosen one. There's a dark
So
one.
every
It's kind of very
story.
much basically. And I was just like, how is that one better than this? When this one is about like when Shadow and Bone's about stupid teenagers falling in love, and then
Because that's a teen drama, Alex.
But it was like done better than this show. Like, or at least
You know what the funny
explained.
thing is? These
Explained a lot
characters
better.
in the books were teens, so like had they
I know
done
it was explained a lot
the
better.
book was never designed as a teen or tween novel. It was always
I feel
an adult
like
read, but
there had to have been a miscommunication somewhere, or COVID did something because
maybe
this show dropped the ball. Unless this is how it's meant to be, I feel like it dropped the ball somewhere, and they
yeah. I think they've got a lot of room for improvement. So fingers crossed. We gotta they start righting the wrongs of this first season. Moving on though, the Grand Tour had a couple specials this year that I really enjoyed. The most recent one was just ridiculous. It just came out in like the last 2 weeks. They go to France, or I don't even know if they go to France, but they're driving cars from France, like French vehicles, French automakers, and they're just ripping them to shreds and like just shitting all over them. It's a very just fun, ridiculous episode that makes no sense, and it just felt like, oh, we're in lockdown, let's do something locally that we can just like have fun and not put a lot of effort into. But it came out pretty entertaining. So for anybody who was longtime fans of the 3 guys from Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, you'll definitely enjoy those specials.
Cars, woohoo!
And then finally, Apple TV Plus had a couple shows that we really enjoyed this year. Obviously, Ted Lasso season 2, probably one of our favorite shows of this year, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say so. It was good. Like there was like again, like I said, it had a little bit of a repeat at the beginning of the season, of, where it wasn't really going anywhere, and at least
By
it didn't feel like it didn't really
strong.
It ended getting a lot better throughout the season, but like I said, like all right. Let's evolve these characters a little bit more. Let's keep going. Let's go. And it took a little bit for them to get there. And I get it. You want to reunite the passion for the show, whatever. But eventually, got there. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more progression. I don't know where they're going to really go with the next one, but it's a comedy show. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And we even got a holiday special.
Yeah.
That was all claymation. That was fun. The morning show season 2. Alex, what did you think about the morning show season 2?
I don't know if you heard that, but
No,
go on.
your screen blocked the plosives.
Good. Good.
Yeah, the morning show season 2 was really strong. If anything, I'm like more excited for more morning show now than I was after I watched the first season. Like the first season was really good. Season 2 just kept up the ante. It was very good show. Anybody who hasn't watched it, anybody with a first initial A should probably check it out. I know they would like it, and so they should watch it. And so this whole thing of just like making a statement of never watching it, they should just get over it and watch it anyway.
Or it's being done on purpose.
I know it's being done on purpose. Schmigadoon was an unexpected fun hit from from Apple TV.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get a second season, but
we don't need a second season.
But it was it was entertaining for
for what it was.
For a limited, hopefully it's a limited series and it stays that.
Yeah, it was only like 6 episodes anyway, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember,
Yeah,
but it was fun.
long.
It was you had that and Ted Lasso come out on the same day, so you'd watch both of them and you'd be like,
yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, it just keeps really you on the Apple TV Plus train.
Yeah, but general TV, what else we got? We got Survivor was a good one this season. Came back, it kind of ruled the world for Survivor. Canadian from Niagara Falls won it. She lives in Toronto now, but she won it. She's the first Canadian to ever win it.
She's all fancy. She lives in the expensive city now.
Well, I think she just worked there. That's she's some sort of accounting manager or something. I don't know.
I can survive on Survivor. I can survive in Toronto. That's how they talk from Niagara
Falls. That's definitely not how she talked, but that's fine. Because she's like a Philippine. She's from the Philippines who immigrated to Canada. She has a Canadian accent, but she immigrated to Canada and now won Survivor. So there's that for regular. What else happened on regular TV? Dexter came back this year. We're seeing season finale of Dexter, I think, this Sunday. So that's cool. It's actually been really cool. Actually, it's been quite interesting. I think I know you haven't watched it, but I think you should. I think you'll quite enjoy it. It does take, a little bit to get into it because they have to introduce all these new characters. But
where he is now.
But this last 2 episodes have been really. It's kind of got to the point where it's ending, but it's like okay, now these characters are dealing with shit, and now he's dealing with his past stuff as well, a lot more. What else we got? We got on regular TV, The Masked Singer. Who cares about The Masked Singer, right? I don't know. So what else we got?
I don't watch general TV, so I genuinely have no idea.
Well, there was like a couple things I didn't watch them. The end of Supergirl ended this year.
Okay.
There was a season finale of Supergirl, series finale of Supergirl. The Flash came back this last month, and they kind of did like
Batwoman still happening.
Yeah, so Batwoman. The whole thing with Batwoman is kind of crazy because like Ruby Rose
just decided to stop.
She left because there was a lot of her words are like she did say why she left for the longest time. Then recently, I think more stories came out, and she's like, "No, I'm clearing the air now." And she's like, "There was just a lot of abuse." Like mentally abusing and stuff like that. Like there was a lot of things wrong with that show. First of all, like apparently one of their star actors died while filming that show with her there, and then just stuff like with her, she wanted to do it this way. Like she was promised this, promised that, and it didn't go that way. And then she was promised this, promised that, and it didn't go that way. It was just a complete disaster, and she didn't feel comfortable working for that anymore. And then they went in a different direction and brought in now this black bisexual girl who I've not watched yet, but she was in the Flash show, this recent one, because they did a whole crossover kind of thing, so which was actually a cool series. It was like another Flashpoint kind of show, but it was like it was a different way of doing it, and it was interesting. Flash it's ending. I think this is their last season. I think so, which I hope it is at least. And it was the one that kind of survived throughout it. Like, obviously, Green Arrow's done, and Legends is still out there, so we'll see what's going on there. But yeah, What else on general TV? I don't watch a lot of general TV anymore either. Wrestling, always fun,
Wrestling.
always, always good times, always, always. I don't watch actually a lot of wrestling anymore. I just don't have time for WWE at least because it's just
They're just
so much the same now. And then
firing everyone.
they're getting rid of all these people and like they're jumping ship. They're going to AEW, but like I'm not paying for another station to watch AEW. Another $40 to watch one show, so it's not worth it.
Bucks for a station? What?
Pretty much, it's like because what you're doing is you're buying
Wow.
the TSN package, so you're getting all the TSNs.
Oh, I
So
get
that's
it.
how Rogers does it. So it's probably more like
Yeah.
$20, but
Yeah.
it's just like why am I paying for two? If but I'd rather have
Yeah.
Sportsnet because it has all the hockey anyways. If I'm gonna watch that, so
Fair.
but yeah, that's TV.
Let's talk real quick before we move on from TV. Just our reactions to Book of Boba Fett episode 1.
Yeah. So I never
That
really
came out.
generally gave a crap about Boba Fett.
Sure.
I'm not one of those fanboys, Star Wars fanboys who just loved Boba Fett for no reason, even though he's in 2 movies for like 10 minutes. I get why. He looked cool at the time, and he was, there's a lot of mystery behind him. I know in the comic books and in the stories he does a lot, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It was fun. Like I said, the one scene that was like the dark scene when he was in the pit, obviously.
Yeah, the Sarlacc pit. That was a cool way
It
to
was
like
so soon.
introduce the show and be like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is what happened to this character, right?
It was
And
just
how
it
did
was a
he
little
get out of that?
dark. Like I said, like it was hard to like. I honestly, but I know
Which
why
it
they
should
did it.
be.
But
Yep.
there's another scene though. I just can't remember what it was, and I was like, why? Why are you making this so dark for no reason? But
Was it where they're in like Jabba the Hutt's like room and everybody's
no, it
bringing their
had to
offerings?
be.
Because that made sense.
It
Like,
had to be one of the nights, like either when the it was tied up with the sand people. But even though at that time they had the fire there, but I think it was.
yeah,
I think it was when the what are they called? When the little things come and like take a seat and
Jawas.
stuff. The Jawas, yeah. I think it might have been.
Oh, and it was all like because that was during a sandstorm. Or was that at night?
It was just
Now
at
I'm
night,
struggling to-
and they just show up.
Yeah.
And there was because I remember the one scene, like the one, you could only really tell that the one was walking back to the one ship, while the other three, yeah, it was just so dark for no reason.
I'm
And I mean, like,
curious because so I watched this on my projector, which
Yeah.
is not an HDR.
Yeah,
You, I know, watch it on your TV probably on your Apple TV, right?
yeah.
Which would be an HDR, and HDR just by having it on makes your set darker. And I'm wondering if, like, in order to really appreciate and enjoy this, like these shows in HDR, if you have to have a TV that can like output the brightness like enough to justify the loss in brightness you get just by having HDR turned on. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like I didn't struggle with that scene, so I couldn't figure out where you were going with that, but that totally would make sense
Mhm.
based on what you're describing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I was like I had the light on too, so like if I turned the light off, maybe it would have been
True.
different.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. It's just
It's just annoying when you can't see what's going on.
yeah, like I could kind of
Yeah.
tell, like I could still make it out, but I just feel like it doesn't need to
Mm.
be necessarily that dark.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be as dark on, I guess, crazy like
Yep.
that. But overall, it was okay. I'm not
Yeah,
like I'm not attached.
I'm not a
to
big
this
fan of the
character.
actor.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
think
actor
it's
that
kind of
portrays
cool
him.
that they keep
I think
using
it's
the same
great that
actor,
they're still using him.
and they're using like he's still the native character, like he still plays his
Yeah.
like native roots to it too, as well as like
I might get
indigenous
some
roots
like
with it. But
flack for this, but like from a continuity perspective, I'm kind of annoyed that Boba Fett goes from being very in shape to not appearing to be in particularly great shape. Like suddenly he's just got a beer gut, and it's like, why is that a thing? You
What do you
know,
mean?
like so like the actor who plays Boba Fett,
Mm-hmm.
he's got his abdomen is much larger than what Boba Fett was. Like if you compare a picture of what Boba Fett looked like and then you see what he looks like in the show, like,
Yeah,
the
but
armor looks so tiny on his chest, whereas like when he fell into the Sarlacc pit, he was very fit and it was going down to his belt line.
you see that later, like when he's at the beginning when he's dressing himself.
Yeah.
His armor like fits him, like it like shrinks everything on him.
It's still not as like tight
Yeah,
fitting.
but I
I
mean, he's
looked at
also
pictures
older.
as soon as it ended. I know he's older, and I totally understand. I just think like from a continuity perspective, the armor doesn't fit nearly as well as it did. Um, you know what I mean? So I struggled with that a little bit because it like the armor's been bothering me since I first saw him on Mando, just like how cleaned up it is and like how like smooth and matte finish it is. Whereas like I always remember Boba Fett's armor a certain way from the movies, and like
Yeah,
when
but
I
that's different also. Like they also explain Mandalorians a little bit different in that time frame. Like they explain the metal, how the metal's not supposed to be able to get marked up.
Sure. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's, you know what I mean?
But
It's
we
fucking.
also know that like Boba Fett's armor is a little bit different than your typical Mandalorian armor.
I don't think so because he takes it from his dad, doesn't he? And then his dad's was an original because he
I
takes his
mean, we
dad's
also know
too.
that like Mando's armor in particular is like of a specific material that not
I
all
mean,
the
he
other
makes his right, like the
Mandalorians have.
beginning of
Yeah,
Mandalorian. Doesn't he remake his
he gets like the Empire
the metal
marks
and
that he's able
remakes
to
it?
go
So,
and
but I mean, like,
yeah,
but his is an original one from back in the
sure,
High Republic days
yeah,
of when Mandalorians had their own planet and everything.
sure, yeah.
Um, so I think it's a little bit different. That's why his always looks different,
Yeah.
because he can't rebuild his.
It just
Um,
bugs me like how like it looks so like it looks so different than what it did in the movies. That's what I guess what my bother is with it. It's just like it's got a different like texture almost. It looks like a bit more of a matte finish. It again, it does bother me that it doesn't look like it's fitting the actor very well compared to how it used to fit Boba Fett. And like that was my problem from a continuity standpoint is if the start of this show is right when he falls in the Sarlacc pit and getting out of it, shouldn't it fit the same way that it did
I
when he
don't.
fell into the Sarlacc pit?
I think. Well, we don't know that yet because it's telling two different stories. So it's telling the story when he takes over for Boba Fett
Yeah,
after Bib Fortuna's had it. We don't know how long is this after the Mandalorian because in
yeah.
the Mandalorian he's clearly been
He's
living
only
on this
getting his
planet.
armor back
Yeah, and
when
he's
he's in
been
the
clearly
Mandalorian.
living on this planet for years. So
I'm just gonna look it up. How
because
long
because
after?
what's her face? What's her character's name? Ali. What's her name?
Only
Can't
5 years.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen. And look,
You're right.
you look at it,
Yeah.
he's always in his medical chamber because he
Yep.
was burnt to shit from the Scarlet Pet
That's
and
true. Yep.
all that stuff. So there are a lot of things could have happened to change it.
You're
Like
right.
look at Vader,
Yep.
right? You look at, I mean, yes, that's 20 years, but when you took Vader's mask off, he was this fat white dude, which
Yeah.
makes no sense,
Fair.
right? In theory,
Yeah.
the white dude makes sense. The fat part doesn't, but
Yeah. The white
but
dude
yeah,
makes.
you know, Luke's they're white. Like full blooded white. And then Anakin was
But
white.
he's got
And
a
then
black voice and he's in black armor.
classic cultural appropriation. How? I don't know. But
Oh man,
just kidding.
James
Well,
Earl Jones still has the
there's.
best voice of all time. So
I'm still mad that they put him back in the Lion King remake.
why?
He was so old, and you could tell.
Yeah,
Like you could tell that he was so much older from the first one, which
Yeah.
makes sense. But I was just like, it just seemed so tired. He just seemed like
I'm sure he is tired.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But like, I mean, Mufasa was still young when he died in the
Yeah.
storyline, right? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, and then Idris Elba, who played his brother, who's 20 years difference between the two.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And then they ripped out the best song from that movie. Anyways, not the point. But yeah, they changed the original. Oh, so bad about that. So dumb.
Well,
But
TV,
yeah,
man.
that's TV. So what are we
2021.
looking forward to for
Well,
2022?
you got to give your review of TV. What's your review? 2021 television.
Yeah, I don't know. 7.2.
Yeah. TV was definitely better than movies was for me.
I still struggle to find stuff to watch TV, and I still struggle to watch stuff now because I don't think, for me personally, I want to watch. Like that's just me. I don't want to watch Arcane. I don't want to watch Cowboy Bebop. I don't want to watch
Sure.
those. I don't want to watch
there's
Bridgerton. I
there's
don't want to
always been that
watch.
with
There's tons
television,
of
right?
stuff to
There's
watch,
always lots of
but
stuff
it's
to
just stuff I
watch. There's
don't
always
want to
lots of stuff you
watch.
don't want to watch, right? And I think for me, the one thing that I've appreciated this year, because over the last decade, I've watched far less cable television than I've watched streaming. I've been far more into watching streaming. And I think streaming is getting a lot better with bringing original content. But the one thing that always drove me nuts is that the way Netflix handles streaming, I know a lot of people love this, but I actually despise it, that the whole season drops at once. I hate that. I want a show. I know a lot of people really do. I want a show that I can watch week after week and let it sink in what happened and talk about it. I don't want to show that like I'm watching every episode back to back to back, binging it, and then half of it I don't retain because I'm just getting through so much at once. Like
But I think that's also on the viewer though. I believe like
sure.
because that's what I do. Like I'll binge a whole show if I'm wanting to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also like for my lifestyle, I watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes and then I'm done and have to watch the next one's a different day. Like I only watch it when I'm eating or
Sure. Yeah.
when I
And I
play a
think that's
video
a
game.
healthy yeah, you're right. That's
You know
healthy.
what I
That's
mean?
the way
So,
I
like, I
did The
think
Witcher. I watched one episode of The Witcher a night for like a week, and then I got through the whole thing more or less. I think, maybe watched 2 episodes at once here or there. But what I'm getting at is that I'm really enjoying Apple TV and Disney Plus bringing back a bit of the weekly releases, and it's actually nice in conjunction with Netflix where you do get it all at once, and now you have more to look forward to week, because it's hard to produce a lot of original content and have it all come out at one time, and then like what do you do to fill people's time with until the next thing comes out, right? Unless
well,
you're
that's the thing when
Netflix,
Netflix
you are
has
dropping
that,
off so much
but
stuff,
Netflix
right?
has so much product to do that with because
They
not
do.
only are they getting their own original content, they're bringing in TV show contents with
Totally.
with NBC, with
Yeah.
Fox. They have not Fox necessarily, but NBC, the CBC, like all those shows have contracts with these people. So that's why I think Netflix can drop a whole season because then you have a whole catalog that you can back into. And so does Disney Plus now and all that stuff. Now they do because now that they have the rights to Fox's shows, they can do that. Apple TV still learning, they still building their stuff, but
their catalog.
but yeah, I think it's just 2 different kind of versions, and Prime's the same way as Netflix. Like they can, if they wanted to drop a whole season, they could. I think they're just playing their time, and I think Wheel of Time, if they just dropped the whole show, would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of hatred. Because now I have to wait a week to watch this stupid fucking show.
I love it. I love getting to look forward to it. It's great for our podcast, as we found with
that's
Disney
the only
Plus,
positive of dropping it single week is for the podcast, where I just get angry every week. I'm like, I don't want to watch this next fucking week, but am I gonna fucking watch it next week? Yes, because I have to. And I hate my life. And the worst that it drops on a Friday, so I'm like, oh, now I'm done work and I want to have to watch this stupid show. But I mean, the last week for a week and a half for me, it's been nothing. So of course, I just killed tons of shows. But
I think TV for me this year would be probably like a 7.6. It was better than movies for me this year. Yeah, there was some movies to enjoy, but there's definitely more television that I've enjoyed this year than movies.
I mean, for me, there's
been a lot of weeks where it's just I always have something to look forward to. So they've done all right.
Yeah. I mean, this year was better for me from last year because Survivor was back. So, and I won money. So it worked out.
Well, look at you.
And she was my first pick, too. Didn't know anything about her. Just the fact she was from Canada. I was like, all right, I'm picking her. And then won.
Let's get into our looking forward to 2022. Let's kick it off with gaming, shall we?
Okay.
Alex is totally prepared.
Totally. Absolutely.
Let's just run through them. We got a list here. So Pokemon Legends kicks us off in January. So we got Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's basically take Pokemon as you know it, go back like hundreds of years to like medieval times. It's not medieval times. I don't know. It just like obviously it's olden times, when people are just starting to like catch Pokemon, do that kind of thing. And it looks like they took the Breath of the Wild engine. So like mash Pokemon Breath of the Wild together, put it in an old timey, setting. There you go. That's the new Pokemon.
Yawn.
So we'll see how that goes.
Well, they also just released the other Pokemon games like
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Sifu coming out on the PlayStation and PC in February. That game looks like it's got a really cool combat system to it, like really like smooth kung fu and fighting.
Sure. I don't remember it, but yeah.
I sent you a video of it like 2 weeks ago.
Right. Yes, now I remember.
Horizon Forbidden West comes out on PlayStation 4 and PS5 in February 18th.
Yep,
Definitely
gonna be
gonna
very
playing
frustrated that week when I play that and I forget how to play, and I have to. I remember being very frustrated with the first one because it was just like, "Fuck you, you little fucking robot dragon!" Like,
What I'm gonna be
fucking
most
annoying.
frustrated about is at the start of the game when you lose all your abilities and equipment from the first game and all your armor that you spent the whole game working to get. And then you have to start from scratch, like you've forgotten how to do everything. Your health meter is back to 0. I'm like, that drives me so crazy in sequels. Like, let me progress. Don't
I
halt my
remember the
progression.
first one,
Start me over.
because you have to build your arrows, and I always found that so fucking annoying. Like, you can't just buy them or anything. And then, like, I remember fighting this fucking T-Rex. I had probably like 6 arrows and like 4 like electronics, and I had to fucking run around for like an hour trying to fight this thing because I had to keep rebuilding arrows, and then like I had to be strategic about it
Was
because
that the one
there's
that was
always
in the room? It was like in
no.
like a
It was in a cave section. Like, it was in like 2. It was like it was. I was in a little like alcove of cave, like not a cave, but it was outside. But it was like 2 mountains meet each other, and I'm just in this corner with the fucking
okay.
T-Rex.
I
And I was
think
like,
I know
"You
the one you're talking about.
motherfucker!" And that's the one that was the one that frustrated me the most. Not even the bird one or whatever. Because the bird one was really kind of annoying too. But yeah. So, but I'll get through it, and I will fight. I feel like I'm gonna get really frustrated with the water ones now, but whatever, that's fine.
I think I kind of need to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn because I never did the Frozen Wilds. I never did the expansion.
me
So
neither.
I have that because it was for free on PlayStation Plus not that long ago. So I feel like I just need to go back and do that because I 100% did the first game. Like I did everything there was. I got every piece of armor, every unlockable. And at the time, I still felt like it wasn't as good of a game as people were making it out to be. The dialogue drove me crazy when they would talk, but their lips wouldn't match. They would just have random animations as they're talking. I'm like, this needs to be fixed. So hopefully that's resolved. This game was made by the developers of Killzone previously, so I get it. It was a wild new direction for them. I just hope they improve on some of that stuff. So
yeah,
we'll see. March 4th, we get Gran Turismo 7. I've been a long time fan of the Gran Turismo series, and
yawn.
Hey, you know what? It's one of the most technically impressive games for the PlayStation. Like PS5, this should be a showcase game to show what it is visually capable of. That's always been Gran Turismo. They've done an amazing job making environments and cars and everything look and feel very realistic for what's capable. So I'm looking forward to seeing, what they can pull off with the PS5 hardware.
I can't justify paying $100 for a game to drive in a circle.
I hope it's not $100.
Oh, it's going to be at least $90. But
really,
every game comes out at $79.99 now.
I don't know. Guardians was only like $45 when I bought it.
Yeah, but that's on sale. But sale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Any new game is.
I'm not going to buy it new.
But how are you going to review? How are you going to review it? If you can't, you have to play it right away.
Well, maybe Polyphony Digital will be like, "Hey, you talked about this on your end of your podcast, and we're gonna send you a press copy that you can review." There you go. That's how I'll review it.
Okay.
I'm such a cool car guy, and I have such an influence in social media on the TikToks. That I don't have.
Get it? It's very, very interesting.
Speaking of which, TikTok is at the #1 like app downloaded on all the app stores right now. I still don't understand why or like why.
Well, you were never big on Vine either, but like
no, I wasn't. Yeah, or
that kind of short joke. Like, it's just like anyone can put anything up really quickly. Yeah. It's just short moments, and a lot of short moments are very funny. Like, obviously my algorithm is movies, television, and dogs, so it's a whole thing. So it's fun. There's a lot of fun content. There's a lot of stupid ass content out there.
Yeah,
but it's like, if I put out content, it'd be fine. But like, I don't put out a lot of content on there. But it's just the way, it's an easy thing to get lost in. You can watch all these creators do stuff, right? And like, if you watch Instagram Reels pretty much all of those are just coming off TikTok, and
Yeah.
those creators just putting them back on another system so they get more views, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of the same fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
but I mean, it's interesting because it's like it can reach worldwide so much
Mm-hmm.
quicker. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
because the For You page is supposed to be like just random videos that you're getting,
Yeah.
and sometimes you do. Sometimes you only get. Sometimes you do get videos of just like that have no likes or anything. You're like, what the fuck? How am I seeing this?
Hmm.
But it's an interesting progress. But
Cool.
anyways,
Maybe someday.
yeah.
Probably not. We got Starfield coming out November 11th, and it has been confirmed this is the first of the Bethesda titles that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC. But PlayStation owners will not get Starfield.
What's the game that's coming
So
out
big
from
deal.
Bethesda that's going to PlayStation? I can't remember what it's called. I saw it the other day. Doesn't matter.
Cyberpunk 2077, we should finally maybe get the next gen upgrade. It was supposed to come out this year, didn't happen because they were dealing with all the bugs of the original release. So we'll see if I eventually play this game because I'm waiting until the upgrade comes. It still was the top played PC game of this year, which makes sense. The PC game did not have all the bugs. It was limited to PS4 and Xbox One consoles. So Cyberpunk 2077 did great on PC this year. Hoping we get the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 upgrade for next year.
Oh, sorry. It's like sorry. Yeah, it was Deathloop because Deathloop makes Bethesda, and that's a game PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, well, yeah, we knew that like
Ghostwire
previous
Tokyo
developed
that's
games were going to be coming out
yeah,
still,
so like
but
Bethesda is gonna honor those exclusives.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
But we'll
we're also expected to get God of War Ragnarok next year, Gotham Knights on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Hogwarts Legacy, which has been talked about for a long time. I thought it was supposed to come out in 2021.
Got delayed. It got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and I think now it's on track, but I'm not sure.
We've got Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which is arguably the more exciting one between that and Gotham Knights. At least for me, it looks to be more exciting.
Gotham Knights is like a very progressive from the Arkham story, and I think Suicide Squad's its own story.
Yeah.
So
we should get a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel coming out on the Switch next year. There's been a couple teasers, but we haven't seen the official title, and we haven't seen like much in the way of a release time frame yet. But it's supposed to come out next year, so fingers crossed. And then lastly, the Lord of the Rings Golem, which is going to be coming out on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC. So that one looks really cool. There was a new trailer for it at the Game Awards, and they're doing a pretty cool take visually on it. Like they're not going exactly for what we saw in like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, but it has a cool visual style. I'm pretty excited for that one.
Nice. Just because it's popped into my head because DC Titans is on Netflix in Canada. I suggest everyone should watch it. Like, I mean, if you ever like, it's not like the greatest of acting of all characters, but I mean, the action in it, it's dark. It's like there are blood and gore and stuff. The characters and the villains are very interesting. This last season actually was really, really good. I thought, because it really goes into the depth of like Robin's, because like it's basically the main character is Nightwing, who was Dick Grayson, who was the original Robin, but you also see Jason Todd. So it's a lot of it's something if you're ever into like any of those kind of Batman characters. It'd be good. You see, like, it's obviously about Raven. It's not, if you enjoy the cartoon TV show, totally different, completely different. They kind of change Raven a bit, and they kind of change. The first season is like a little bit iffy. Yeah, it has a lot of good character development in it, but like the ending is kind of garbage. But second season picked it right up and fixed it, and then season 3 just came out, and it was really, really well done. So I say check it out if you haven't. So. Because they got a season 4 too. So,
yeah. Alex, take us through the series and movies coming out in 2022 that we're most looking forward to.
Nah, I'd rather not. Just kidding. Well, first things first, we got the Harry Potter reunion. Clearly,
yeah. Jan 1.
That'll be fun. Maybe who knows? Maybe they're gonna announce like, oh, we're gonna do the Cursed Child, and nobody wants that. Nobody in the world wants Cursed Child as a movie. what I want is a new original movie with those Harry Potter characters. That would be cool with a new
That
villain.
would be cool.
It would be something else.
Sans J.K. Rowling.
Yes, but fuck the cursed child. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
When they go back in time and change everything, just doesn't make any fucking sense. Apparently, it's a great play to see live, but the story just makes.
Speaking of which, are you going to get tickets? Have you gotten tickets?
I have not. I have not.
There's tickets available right now for next year.
Did you get tickets?
No, I haven't.
Not me either.
I thought about it, but I haven't.
Give us free tickets, people. Peacemaker, which will be fun. Don't know if it's gonna be good, but you know, it'll be funny. I think Matt will love it, but
I don't know.
It's basically Matt if Matt was an asshole.
So not me.
Yeah, well, I said if you were an asshole, this would be you. The way the things that he just says, like the eagle scene, that'd be you. Hey, it's a fucking you. You know, just you. You know. Anyways, Morbius is a movie. So
Jared Leto.
Yeah, we're finally getting
that's
that movie.
another one from the Sony Marvel movies. Yep.
That one's supposed to be supposed to come out like last year or something, but we're getting it now.
Yep.
Uncharted, obviously, that's gonna be fun. That'll be good, I think. Hopefully Mark Wahlberg doesn't ruin it.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. It's took a lot of the story from the games. It's kind of mixed all of them together.
Looks like a combination. Yeah.
Except for the second one, clearly. The second one is a movie on its own.
Exactly.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if it's...
It's such a cinematic game.
Yeah.
Like
it is the best one.
Was cinematic, and okay, all the Uncharted games have been cinematic, but like Uncharted 2 was like a masterpiece of cinema.
I think it's one of the best games from the PlayStation that they've ever made. But
by far, yeah.
Then there's the Batman with Robert Pattinson and Paul Dano. Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore. I mean, that's the third one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new trailer out. I think came out in the last week for it.
2 weeks ago, I think. But yeah.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. And they've recast what's his name?
God, what's his name? Grindelwald. It's Grindelwald, and it's now
Johnny
Mads.
Depp,
Johnny Depp played Grindelwald, and it's not Mads Mikkelsen or whatever his name is.
Mads Mikkelsen, yeah.
Totally.
I think he'll do a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a change of like complete look, and it's kind of weird, but it happens. Like they look totally different. Like they're two different people.
Completely different. Yeah.
What else we got? We got Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, which will be the big next Marvel movie.
That comes on May 6th. Yeah.
People will love that. Top Gun, if that movie ever actually gets taken out. It was supposed to come out like 4 years ago.
I feel like this is like No Time to Die, you know, like No Time to Die was supposed to come out forever. Now we're waiting on Top Gun forever.
Jurassic World, the third one. Dominion, a Lightyear that nobody cares about except for Matt.
I'm very excited for it.
It's just such a really pointless film, in my opinion. I think the Toy Stories, I know it has nothing to do with the Toy Story.
Yeah,
it does and it doesn't. But I mean, it's like, all right, it's the same thing with like
his origin story.
Because I guarantee you they're gonna make Toy Story 5, and I'm gonna be like, let the series end. Like, I know it's not a thing that they like to do.
If it can keep doing this, Alex, why would they?
Because they just keep writing shittier and shittier movies, and it's just like, all right, moving on. We got Thor, Love and Thunder, which will be a movie. Obviously, we got Black Adam, which will be the new big DC movie, the first one we get, other than Batman. But this one will stick to. I don't know how it's going to change everything, because we're also going to get. What's his name? Shazam 2. I think we get it next year as well, but I don't know.
Oh, really? I
think so.
It might be on the list.
It might be. It might be next year, but they've pretty much shot it. So, and we're kind of really hoping for the connection between Black Adam and Shazam at some point.
Yeah.
But Black Adam, it keeps like The Rock keeps teasing Superman for some reason. So, we'll see how that goes. What If season 2 at some point in our lives.
Yep.
MA7 that they shot like 4 years ago as well.
It feels like it's been a while since we got the last Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is just losing his fucking mind right now, I'm sure. Obi-Wan's the story of Obi-Wan. The Andor Star Wars story. Some Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man
Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1.
Yeah,
The
part
best
1. The
Spider-Man
fact that they have
movies.
to do a part 1 is just a whole thing, right? And here's the thing. You know, if people think it's the best movie ever, then why do they have to make a sequel? What?
Why wouldn't they?
Why ruin it? Why ruin it?
Are they? Or are they
Also,
ruining
first of all, I mean, if I wanted to watch an animated version of Spider-Man, I'll just read the comics. Anyways, then we got the Flashpoint movie, which will be fun. We just got an announcement that Michael Keaton is actually going to reprise Batman again in Batgirl,
Oh, wow.
the movie Batgirl, and J.K. Simmons is going to replay Commissioner Gordon in that movie as well. So that'd be cool. So a lot of people are petitioning that they want to for the Flashpoint that they want a home scene and bring Christian Bale in as well. But I don't think Christian Bale would ever come back as Batman.
No.
I don't think he would. He could, but I don't think he ever. I think he said it. He would never do Batman again without.
You think they can get Clooney in with his nipples?
Yeah, nobody wants that. That's like the last thing anybody wants. If Val Kilmer was like healthy, people would be okay with that. But that's also never going to happen. But
no,
it could. I mean, it could. I mean, you never know. But
he's dealing with a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this might be the boost he needs. You never know. And there's a lot more to it. I know. But
a lot more to it. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what we're gonna see: Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton in the same scenes, hopefully.
Christian Bale.
Maybe Christian Bale. You never know. People will lose their shit if he shows up.
I would.
I'd be like, cool. Worst Batman ever. Awesome. Other than
in
George
the best
Clooney.
Batman films.
Story wise, yes.
Yeah.
He's the worst Batman, and I'll fight anyone to say that.
I think George Clooney is the worst Batman.
Well, I don't count George Clooney as a person. Batman. We don't count that. That movie doesn't exist. We got Black Panther. Black Panther apparently was voted the most
anticipated
film for Marvel this year.
Yeah.
Which I mean makes sense because everyone's really wondering what they plan to do.
What are they going to do? Yeah.
And there has been also another petition that they say recast T'Challa. And everyone, Marvel's like, doesn't want to do it, which I get totally. But there's
what is a Black Panther film without Black Panther? You know what I mean?
Well, Black Panther could be anyone because he does it in the comic
That's
books
true.
because like
move on.
Black Panther does his sister does become Black Panther in the comic books at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But apparently, like, there's a lot of negativity towards the actress who played his sister.
There has been. She's made a lot of not great comments.
So, but that's been halted production until next year anyway. So we'll see. They'll probably finish and finish by the end of, I would assume, January, February, and then they'll get it out for November. I would assume. Yeah. Creed 3 that nobody wanted. Without Sylvester Stallone.
Rocky. Yep. It's the first. Yeah.
And Michael B. Jordan directing it. So that's be interesting. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Again, nobody asked for it, but here we are.
I'm always so worried whenever I see holiday special after something because I'm just like, how many of them have been total flops? It
just doesn't make any sense. Why do it? And then and then almost 10 years later,
I don't know how
Avatar 2
accurate this is, but Avatar 2 is slated to come out next December.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, December 16th, 2022.
Yeah.
Well, it's done.
It's been a decade.
They announced that it's done. They said they finished production and everything. So, what is so? I guess they gave out the synopsis too. It's Jake Sully and Nathria, I don't know how to pronounce her name, have formed a family and are doing everything to stay together. However, they must leave their home and explore the regions of Pandora. Cool. When an ancient threat resurfaces. Oh no. Jake must fight a difficult war against the humans. Who saw that coming? Everyone. $250 million.
That's it?
Like, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, man. 200, like, I get it. It made more than that in the last one,
Yeah.
but fuck off. James Cameron, like, fuck off.
I'm curious to see how this one does. Like the marketing machine that's probably going to get pushed into this, sequel.
Well, think about it. Like, the only so yeah, you're right. The marketing's gonna take craziness, but who's really like they had to bring in Kate Winslet for fuck's sakes to really help build this one
Mm.
because like Sam Worthington hasn't done anything very successful. You got
What has
Zoe's
he done?
yeah, right. You got Zoe Saldana, sure, and Guardians has
Yeah,
kind
she's
of been
solid.
her big thing,
Yep. Yep.
but like so and then you got Sigourney Weaver, obviously, but
Mm.
those aren't big enough names to like, keep drawing people in anymore. Like people know.
But yeah, and like the whole thing with the first one, like the technology that went into it and the 3D, which at the time was a big deal, but very
Yeah,
quickly we all got very sick of it very quickly afterwards,
yeah,
right? Which is also funny because I'm pretty sure the next movie that came out, which was either Clash or Wrath of the Titans, that did the post 3D
yeah,
setup, was also starring Sam Worthington. Like he was
yeah,
the best and worst in back to back movies.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because they brought in Kate Winslet for this one, kind of for that's going to be their big name. Because they also have
sure.
like obviously Vin Diesel and Michelle Yeoh. They brought back Stephen Lang, but these aren't like for general movie audience are going to know those names. Like they're not going to
Yeah.
know like
Vin Diesel's in it.
yeah, apparently he's in the cast, and then they got like
Interesting.
cool things. They got Jermaine Clement in it, so that's kind of cool. So clearly they shot this in New Zealand. Jermaine Clement's from Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
And then they got like Gianni Ribasi returning, obviously, as well. But yeah, like it's just like I don't know. I don't know how this one's gonna go as well, and I don't care for it. So I think we've talked long enough at this point.
We've covered a whole lot. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. 2021, it was a year. Cheers, man.
I got nothing.
Whatever you got.
Empty
There
can.
you go. Here's to a solid year, and a whole lot of podcasts.
We got more to
covered
go.
A lot.
More to
there's
go.
more to come. We're hoping to get some more content pumped out, on the YouTubes. It won't just be the podcast next year. We've got some ideas in the books and hopefully some time coming up where we can really get into this and get together and film some stuff. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you want us to talk about.
Yes.
It's been fun. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a happy new year. Stay safe.
Be safe.
And
don't touch things that you're not supposed to.
So don't lick things that you're not supposed to.
Yeah, just don't put it in your mouth.
Just don't you put it in your mouth.
Anyways, it's been fun. Okay, bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.